Bring on Michael. Paging Mike. Hey! Happy Friday, everybody. Friendly Friday, the friendliest Friday in the whole goddamn internet. Let me put my glasses on because those lights are blinding. And they're not very clean. Clean my glasses. How are you guys? We made it. We made it. I don't know if everybody else made it. We'll see who shows up today on Friday. There might be a bunch of people trying to figure out, a bunch of Trump supporters right now trying to, what the fuck is going on with my glasses? Can't get them clean. Get this little wipe over here. Probably a bunch of Trump supporters right now cheering on a FBI raid because that's what we're doing now. We're just pumped about FBI raids. That's where we're at with MAGA. Every time they do something to go after one of Trump's enemies, everybody gets a fucking MAGA erection, which is, I don't know if you guys know this. There's an actual definition for MAGA erection. You can look this up. But basically what it is it's when your dick still is soft, but you wish it was hard. You're not capable of it, but you're like, if I could get hard, this is what would do it. That's called a MAGA erection. Thank you. I found this on Twitter. I should have given somebody credit for this. I think that's who it is. Lalo Alcaraz, distributed by Andrew McMill Syndication. Color, you like this color combo? Thank you. I wasn't sure if it worked. I appreciate you saying that. I'm often very concerned on whether or not stuff will match, and I don't always have somebody to run that by. So I do ask my daughter regularly. I don't know if she's figured out matching yet, but she does better than I do. So and then I blame the woman. That's right. Then you blame the woman. Play that ad, Grant. Oh, yeah, we got to play the ad. For all of our MAGA folks that are coming in here, here you go. Like, nobody's as soft as a conservative. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Those conservative men are soft as shit. That's why every time you go to a conservative podcast, it's like, and now to our sponsor, Blue Chew. Your dick can work again. You don't have to scream at women when your dick doesn't work. This'll fix it. Why is he all caked up in that picture? Look, overalls can make you appear to be more caked up. You got to remember that he's not caked up. He just has a big fucking diaper full of shit. Can we talk about how he's painting the U.S. side of the fence? Yeah, we can, but it won't matter. You explain that to MAGA, they're like, well, what if the illegal immigrants go over the fence and then they want to climb back over the fence before we catch them? So it's a deterrent from them going back over the fence before we can catch them and brag about it. Still had a pouch in. I've gone away. Sometimes I do like conservative things. I used to like nicotine little pouches. I've gone away from that. I have these nootropic pouches. I don't know if they're any good at all, but I think I've showed this before. I bought a bunch of these once upon a time when I was going to quit nicotine, which I'm clear of nicotine for like a couple weeks now. And, but it's a little embarrassing. So I'm just going to show you. This is not an advertisement. I'm not even going to say these work. They're just like a good substitute for like a habit that I got used to. But alpha, these are alpha nootropic pouches. That's what I just spit out of my mouth. I'm not proud of that. I just want to be honest that I had an alpha pouch there. Thank you. You know what's weird? I don't know if this has happened to anybody. Like all of a sudden I started getting really dizzy, and like my brain wouldn't function. Like I would take nicotine. If I take any nicotine now, it makes me super, super dizzy. But I was taking it all the time. Like if anybody's ever tried nicotine for the first time, you get like that head rush. I've never liked that, but I just started getting it. Tea pouches. That's a good idea. I've tried the coffee ones. Those ones didn't work. Chewing up and spitting out alphas. Yeah, that's right. You don't chew them. You're not supposed to chew them. But that's how I became so alpha. That's why the MAGA folks are so afraid of me. It's because I chew alpha patches. Let's get into it. I feel bad about this. Zelensky has now been in the White House twice. And I thought I covered all the important parts, but there was one clip from the first Zelensky meeting that I was surprised that I missed. Let me adjust this real quick. I didn't know that I was surprised I missed this. there's not a lot of context here. I just want you to see it, but mostly so that you know that I'm not missing parts of the meeting. And so this was part I never saw.
Gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country. Gambling with...
I'd never seen that before. That's what I opened up to today on Twitter. And I was so happy. Listen, I know it's petty. I know. But it's so funny. We can see it again if you want. Do you want to see it again? We can see it again. You can see it one more time. It killed me. I died. It's the noises for me.
Gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country. Gambling with World...
I think they cut it out of the live broadcast somehow. I don't know what happened. He's about to lose TikTok. Yeah, it might be out. Guys, quick, send a bunch of likes on TikTok. Share this with all your friends real quick, or we're going to get in trouble. That is a reminder. We are crowdfunded, and so is our HR representative, who's got their work cut out for them today on TikTok. But if you can gift on TikTok, that would be greatly appreciated. I appreciate you, Chet, already, and let's get those likes and those shares up. For everybody else, if you're watching anywhere else, we have the normal ways that you can help keep our show going. Today is Friendly Friday, so we cut it an hour short, and Jen never lets Friendly Friday start until we've accomplished our gift goals, so you don't want to be on Jen's bad side. Let's see if we can knock that out earlier. Kanda Riandman, Jesus. Kanda Riandman. All right. Did they go to Home Depot to get people to paint the wall, then deport them? I don't know. I think that's probably something they would do. Lewis said, good morning. Happy Friday, all. Thanks, Lewis. Katrina actually sent one early today before the show. Said for the show today. And Betsy said, it's my birthday, so here's a gift for you. Happy Friday. Well, Betsy, happy Friday to you as well. And let's just say that video of JD Vance and the couch was for you. So now we've both given each other a gift today, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. While Texas bows to Donald Trump, I'm not going to cover this too much today, but I wanted to show this video of the parents from the flooding. And I do recognize that there's this thing we do in America, like when legislators are doing something, rather than attack the legislation, we say, well, you could do this. This would be more important. You see Republicans do this a lot when they talk about immigration, and they'll always just say things like, oh, you care about immigrants, but what are you going to do for homeless veterans? And then you're like, well, you're not going to do anything for homeless veterans. Like, you guys complain about that, and then you do nothing. So I do understand that, like, sometimes you're just focusing on one piece of legislation at a time. But these folks live in Texas. This is not federal legislation. They have lost their children. They have lost houses. They've lost family members. And they have to sit back and watch the Texas legislature do nothing because they are so focused on doing a favor for Donald Trump. I just wanted to, just some clips from the testimony of some of these parents I thought was really, really powerful.
We are the parents of Seal Stewart, the only camper from Camp Mystic still missing. Obvious common sense safety measures were absent. Protocols that should have been in place were ignored. As a result, my daughter was stolen from us.
As her mother, I am haunted by the events that took place on July 4th and wish with every fiber of my being that I was here under different circumstances.
We don't know when she died. We don't know how. We really don't know anything. We may never know. All we do know is our daughter was at camp. She was not protected. She was not safe because she died along with 26 other girls.
I am tormented every night around 2 a.m. I cannot sleep. I will forever be haunted by the fireworks on the 4th of July, standing outside the morgue, only to then have to wait till July 15th to bring Virginia home.
Yeah.
We are
Donald
the parents.
Donald Trump truly brings out the worst in everybody. The worst version of Republican voters is the MAGA voter. It's the worst version of yourself. It's the worst version of Republican legislatures. It's the worst version of the executive branch. Donald Trump has pulled our entire country down into the gutter, where we do this now. We're Republicans right now, if you live in Texas, you have two choices. You can admit that what they're doing right now is just a favor for Donald Trump to cheat the election. You could admit that and be honest. Or you can lie. And you can stand by and defend the people that you voted for doing absolutely nothing for the people of Texas. In fact, stripping away representation from many of them to do this guy a favor. He truly does. Like, I think Donald Trump brings out the worst in me. I think he brings the worst out in the Democrats. I think he brings the worst out in our allies. I think he brings the worst out in our military. Donald Trump's influence makes everybody worse. It makes everybody's life worse. Like, it's a pathetic existence to have to defend Donald Trump, but it's a frustrating existence for us too. It's a frustrating existence when you cover the news, because I know today we're going to cover a lot of stuff, and we're going to laugh, and I'm going to try and keep it light as much as I possibly can. But at the end of the day, I know that there's not a goddamn thing sometimes that we can do to ever convince somebody to just live in reality. I've thought about the debate we had earlier this week with the super Christian guy all week. My mom she doesn't usually comment on my shows, but she sent me a message, and that's what she was saying too. She's like, it's at the end of that, it's crazy. She's like, the whole time we think oh, we're gonna find some common ground. Oh, this guy is seeing something. Like, he's seeing the cracks, and then he just runs from it. He's like, I can't do this. I can't see the cracks anymore. I got to go. And then he runs from it. And that's Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't allow you to live in reality because he lies about everything. And we're going to get through that today. We're going to cover a whole lot of that stuff today. And what you'll see in the chat is that when we cover stories that are on CNN, they'll be like, oh, CNN fake news. I'm going to be called a snowflake, a soy boy, all that shit. We're going to see the same shit we see every single day in here, and we're going to keep calling it out. Republican, angry MAGA supporters will come in here. They will try and pick fights in the chat, and it'll work, and that's kind of fun. And they will insult me, and they won't come up here and talk about it. And they won't come up here and defend it because they can't. There's no way to do it. Every one of you MAGA, if you're being honest right now, you are sitting and waiting and hoping that at some point this shit changes. Because right now there's not a goddamn thing you can say. Everything is going poorly. And you just have to trust in Caroline Leavitt. And fine if you do. But you just have to trust her words. Trust Donald Trump. Don't worry. Don't worry, Donald Trump's got this. That's what you voted for. You voted to trust Donald Trump. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see if you guys can pull this off. Let me read this. This was from Brother Bob. Said, happy Friendly Friday. Fuck MAGA, but not like that. Ew. All right. Thank you, Brother Bob. I've gotten many middle finger emojis from Jen already today. Jen, welcome. You're here. All liberal men have this same voice. Where we articulate, where we finish words, where we enunciate. Yeah. Yeah, we could all speak correctly. We all do talk like that.
It's been a minute since you got middle finger gifs for me. So
that was close, Jed. that was close. I thought maybe you caught yourself and you were gonna say this has been a while since you got middle fingered. I thought that's what you were gonna say and you caught it. Oh, okay.
No. I know what I'm intending to say.
Because it hasn't been a while.
It's really been a couple weeks. I mean,
I haven't been middle fingered in a while. It's true.
I mean, well, I wouldn't know. We don't talk about shit like that. That's weird.
I could text you next time it happens.
If you want to make it weird. I mean, we've been over this. I'm way better at the weird game than you are.
That's true. That's true.
Every once in a blue moon, Jay tries to gross me out with things, and it just never works for
Backfires
him.
every time.
Every time he says, why do I play this game with you?
Oh.
But yeah, so it's Friday, Friendly Friday. So like Jay mentioned, we need to knock out that gift goal in the top left-hand corner so we can get to that. We usually do that about the last hour of the show. We do this every day, Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 1. Yeah, if we can Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, the sooner we can knock that out, the sooner we can do Friendly Friday at the end. If you haven't subscribed to us already, please do so. If you guys disagree with RTP, you guys can come in and talk to him. How you do that is if you look at the Venmo username, that is my Discord. You can send me a message on Discord and I can bring you up to talk to Jay in real time. You don't have to stay in the comments. Check out our link tree. We're on most social media platforms. We have merch. Jay's on Cameo, and we upload all these episodes to Spotify if you'd like to watch them there at a later date. Yeah. So, did you know the first French fries weren't cooked in France?
I did not know that.
They were cooked in Greece.
All right. Okay. Thank you. All right. Here's Elizabeth Warren. She's gonna try and give some hope. One of the things I hate about Elizabeth Warren is that like the Pocahontas thing, the Trump like he kind of landed that, like she didn't check that out, and it's crazy in politics that one simple little thing like that can ruin you forever. Only if you're on the left. It doesn't haunt you if you're on the right. You can literally be anything you want on the right, like stolen valor, sex abuser, doesn't matter. Like as long as you swear your allegiance to Trump, it doesn't matter. So what we're gonna see here, we're gonna queue in the chat. We're gonna there's gonna be a bunch of Pocahontas stuff here. We're also gonna talk about MSNBC talking points, like getting those out. But here's Elizabeth Warren with what I think is the correct take on what Democrats need to be doing here.
Citizens United was wrongly decided. Super PACs and unlimited spending are a disaster. And it would be utterly insane not to use a super PAC when you're running for president, because you can't essentially unilaterally disarm if those are the conditions of rules that have been set for Democratic competition.
That's right. But the one thing I want to remind everyone is when the Democrats get in power again, and we will, we've got to change the rules. We've got to change the rules on the impact of money in politics, and we've got to pass the Voting Rights Act again and make sure that there is true protection so that every voter in this country gets heard with his or her vote.
That's a very good point. Citizens United was wrongly decided.
Yeah. We got to go back over. We've got to protect voting rights. There's an absolute all-out blitz on voting rights right now, and like we're just doing authoritarian. Fuck all of you who say that they're not. I dare you to come up here and explain to me how this isn't authoritarianism. You will lose this battle. You will lose the battle for the independent vote. You guys are fucked right now. Just so you know, what we're gonna see here is we're gonna see Trump as power consolidates, and as people, as he's consistently exposed as being a fucking moron who's destroying our economy, who is hiding the Epstein files, his support will fall off and fall off and fall off. And his response to all of this is going to be more and more authoritarian, which is what we're seeing every day. We've said it before, like you're being slow walked into it. You're being conditioned for it. Even today, Republicans' talking point today is Letitia James, because a court said that the penalty on Trump was excessive. Not that he didn't do the crime, by the way. Not that it wasn't a just ruling, by the way. Not that Letitia James was wrong, just that it was an excessive ruling. Now, even then, the ruling was correct. The math was right. What's crazy about this ruling is that number that they came up with was based on a math equation that they used to determine these types of fines. And Donald Trump just happened to be the one who abused it the most, so his fine was way bigger than anybody else's. A judge has ruled that now he doesn't have to pay that. That's fine. He's still a criminal. And that's what you guys have to hang your hat on today. Because like I think I said this on Monday, you guys have adopted his pain. You have no real gripes. Your entire ideology is Donald Trump. So now when Donald Trump doesn't have to pay a fine, you count that as a win for you for some reason. How the fuck is that a win for you? Does that make your life better? Makes your life better that he doesn't have to pay as much money? He's made almost $4 billion from the presidency so far. He's enriching himself like crazy. But today you guys want to come on and be like, ha ha, take that, libs. Take what? We were never getting that money either. None of us were. But he's still guilty. He still lost that civil case. He's still a felon. And that's what you guys have to defend today. And that's what I would defend today, too, if I was you. Because we're looking at an administration, like Elizabeth Warren said, who's looking at the impacts of money and watching all of your guys' rights be stripped from you. And you don't care. Because probably because you don't understand what's going on. So let me tell you what this administration is doing. This administration has already promoted rollbacks of multiple Biden executive orders, and you guys are on board with that because you just think everything Joe Biden did was bad. I'll get some clips in here later. Like Tom Tillis says something about Joe Biden, like basically my ideology is if Joe Biden liked it, it was bad, which is crazy. But we improved voter registration services like at VA hospitals and Indian health service clinics. Places where vulnerable people go to get care, and we've allowed them, especially veterans, we've given them access at VA hospitals to do things like get registered to vote. Make sure that these veterans are registered to vote. Make sure that they're not falling through the cracks. But Trump then goes and rescinds these executive orders. During this administration, there's already a Trump judge in the appeals court ruled that only the DOJ, only the Department of Justice is able to bring lawsuits to enforce the Voting Rights Act. So we're clear on that. What that means is if your right to vote is restricted by the Voting Rights Act, you can't bring a lawsuit. Only the Department of Justice can. Voters and advocacy groups who like do class action lawsuits, now they can't do that. That's what we're ruling here now. That only the DOJ, led by Donald Trump, essentially, gets to determine when they can or cannot sue for voting right discrimination. They've pushed for prosecutorial responsibility for like 18 USC 241, which is meant to protect voters from intimidation, and they've shifted that right from the civil division to the criminal division. So wait till the midterms. Watch what Trump does with the midterms. Watch him roll out in Democrat neighborhoods. Watch him go out there with masked thugs to intimidate people. Just watch. Watch it happen. He's going to scare people. And by the way, if you're Hispanic in this country and you're watching what's going around, you're watching what's going on all over the country, and you're watching Hispanic people being stopped and detained just for being Hispanic. And you have other people whose like their status is in question. Maybe they have a visa, or maybe they just recently became a citizen. If you're that person and you show up at a polling place, you might think, you know what? I'm in a blue district. We're gonna win anyways. Like I'm not gonna risk it. We're gonna win this blue district anyways. I'm out. And then we see like what happened in Pennsylvania. You see blue turnout lower and lower because what the Republican Party only cares about is Donald Trump. So they just want to do things that stifle votes against Donald Trump. They want to cheat in all of these elections. And that's what Elizabeth Warren is pointing at. She's just saying, like, these guys know that if they don't rig these elections, there's enough people that don't like this authoritarianism. Most people don't like authoritarianism. Now, a lot of you that say you don't like it, you just don't know that you're doing it yet. And you may never know. You may not have like the intellectual capacity to recognize the obvious infringements against our Constitution that are being perpetrated against the American people every single day. You literally are watching ICE go in without warrants, breaking into people's cars, into their homes, into their businesses, stopping people without any suspicion of a crime just because they look Hispanic. And you're all okay with authoritarianism as long as it's not affecting you. And you, rightfully so, like you and I, we can walk down the street and we can feel pretty safe. I don't think ICE is going to stop me. ICE isn't going to stop you. But that's the Republican mindset. Well, I guess you shouldn't have been Hispanic, huh? Well, if I was Hispanic, I would just comply. I would just keep all of my documents on me always. It's okay. It's all right if the government infringes on our rights. And for what? What are you guys getting out of this? How has the country gotten better? What? This time I'll read from Republicans. Tell me, Republicans, what has gotten better? You really only have one. Yeah, there's no Republican Party. That's true. It's just Donald Trump. I'm not sure he will need to. They didn't need it in 2024 to accomplish winning. Well, look, he lost in 2022. If you're here illegally, you need to be treated accordingly. Yeah, but what about the people, Gramps, that aren't here illegally? What about the Hispanic people who are being stopped and questioned and detained who are here legally, that were born here, or that immigrated here legally? What about those people? Do you care about those rights, Republicans? I doubt it. See, you're all, this is the thing. This is the problem we have. Every one of your answers is talking about illegal immigrants. I'm talking about legal immigrants who are being stopped, who are being detained, who are being cuffed, who sometimes are being put in detention centers, who are being put in jails, who are being thrown in the back of cars. I'm talking about legal immigrants. If your answer to this is, oh, well, they shouldn't have been here illegally, that's not what we're talking about. And this is where we have, I have a real frustration with you folks right now. Because I think that you're going out of your way to not address reality. I need you guys to tell me that it's okay that if you're Hispanic here and you're here legally, it's okay for the police to detain you. It's okay for the police to demand identification. That it's okay for the police to enter your home to look for somebody who's here illegally. I need you guys to say that. Otherwise it seems like you're exactly what I said. Like you're just pretending things aren't happening. But we're not going to get that. I don't think we're going to get that from Republicans today. I don't think that we're going to acknowledge that. They are not legal citizens. That's reality. No Hispanics are legal citizens, Republicans? None of them? All Hispanics are illegal? This is what I'm saying. You guys are such cowardly little bitches. We're back to bitches today. How far in are we? We're 30 minutes in. I'm already calling you guys bitches. That might be a new record. It's unbelievable how cowardly all of you are. I'm asking very specific questions. You run from it. Illegal. Not illegal. Legal citizens who look Hispanic. Should they be detained? Yes or no? And we're just hearing, liar. What am I lying? Jesus Christ. You guys are fucking insane. Every day. Every fucking day. Yeah, that's 100% GED. 100%. It's just pure racism. Well, I don't hate them. I just think people should immigrate legally. That's a citizen. Well, no, I'm not going to address that. I'm just going to pretend it's not happening. I mean, did you know that 70%, according to ICE, okay, so we're not making this up. According to ICE, 70% of the people that they have detained and put into their little concentration camps have never committed a crime outside of being here illegally. Do you know what percent are like the tier 3, the violent offenders? It's like 3%. And the reason that number is so skewed, and I think we should say this every day, is that all of these people working for ICE and Tom Homan and Kristi Noem, all bitches, all cowards. They don't have the stomach to go after like real crime. They don't have the stomach to go after violent crime. They just like going after easy targets. The people who aren't hurting you one bit. They're not making your life better. The GenDub1 is the username you'll want to DM if you want to come up here. But the challenge today for you Republicans is to come up here and explain to me how illegal immigration was impacting your life and how these deportations have changed and made your life better. That's the challenge today. Like every day, none of you will come up because none of you can explain it. There's just this pit of racism in there that you're like, it's got to come out. It's got to come out. I just like it because they're Hispanic, but I can't say that because then people are going to know that I'm racist. You're not hiding it well. We know. We know where you're at. I showed you guys a clip last week from Jonathan Greenblat, who is the president of the ADL. And lots of programs fact check this in real time. But if you remember, Jonathan Greenblat was going after Mamdani, and he's like, you'll notice with Mamdani, he's very anti-Semitic. Has he visited a single Jewish synagogue? And we're all like, yeah, he did. Multiple. Like you just go, you've been on Twitter, like you can see it. And now CNBC is forced to make a retraction and apology for letting that go unchecked on their channel.
We had a conversation with Jonathan Greenblat from ADL earlier this week where he made a comment that I just think is worth clarifying on the air, because he had said at one point and sort of made a point of saying that Zoran Mandami had not met with any mainstream Jewish institutions, and that was sort of
he said he hadn't gone to any synagogues.
As we talked about this, and he was effectively trying to criticize Mandami. The truth is, and I didn't know this in the moment, but he had actually visited a whole number of synagogues, and you can go back and look. He attended Shabbat services in Park Slope. He met with the UJA Federation. He met with a number of temples in the spring. Now, Jonathan Greenblat, who I actually went back and forth with about this afterwards, suggested that what he meant to say was that Zoran Mandami has not met with Jewish organizations after the primary. So he's putting a sort of a time element on that.
He did not put a time element on it.
He did not make a time element when he said it.
Yeah, now he's like, what I meant to say was, in the last couple weeks, he hasn't.
On the air.
Yeah.
I don't know about the extent of all of this. And by the way, I would welcome Zoran Mandami to come on this air. We've asked him to come on before. I think we have some really important discussions to have about the city, about capitalism and socialism and the economics of the city and what it takes to make all this work. But I do think it's worth pointing out, given that we did have that conversation on our air.
Yeah. Isn't it weird? All these things that you guys keep claiming, you have to keep going back on all of it. You always have to go back on it. The anti-Semitism is a problem in this country, and it's largely a right-wing problem. It's largely the Nick Fuentes crowd, the Groyper crowd, the Candace Owens crowd. It's largely those groups of people who are anti-Semitic. And you guys, for like a second thought, because Mamdani is siding with Palestine, you thought, oh, here's our chance. Finally, we can frame the left as anti-Semitic. And you tried. You tried really hard, and it turns out that that's not true. Jewish people in New York overwhelmingly supported Mamdani over every other candidate. That's the reality that you guys have to live in. Alexandria says, happy Friday, no notes. Izzy, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. Johnny says, knock, knock. Who's there, Johnny? Chris says, oh, coward chat chirpers are here early. G-Lo, thank you also for joining the Dollar Train. And there was one, I just forgot if I read it. Wasn't me said, for Trump arming the National Guard in D.C. is straight up Nazi shit. 100%. 100%. For a guy who in his first administration couldn't arm D.C., couldn't bring in the D.C. National Guard, it sure seems that it's really easy now. And let's talk about that here. J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth went to Union Station surrounded by like 500 armed military men because they are cowards and they're not going to go out in the streets. They got heckled mercilessly. But then J.D. Vance was asked the question, like, wait, you guys are talking about these crime-ridden areas all over D.C. Why didn't you go there? What are you doing at Union Station? Why are you here in safety if you're trying to do this photo op where you're all brave and you're going out to show how safe things are? Why aren't you going out into these neighborhoods that you claim are committing all the crimes? Here's J.D. Vance.
Why are troops stationed here at Union Station on the National Mall instead of areas in D.C. where crime is statistically highest?
Well, if you've ever been to Union Station in the last few years with your family, you know that crime is actually extremely high.
I want you to hear what he says here. And I heard this from I want to say Stephen Miller earlier. Let me actually, Jen, will you find, if you can, will you go to Twitter and find Stephen Miller talking also in Union Station? Because I want to show that. But you'll notice what they say. They're not talking about real crime. Stephen Miller's not talking about real crime. They're starting to do things that are troubling to me. They're probably not troubling to conservatives, but this has become immediately elitist. Remember, J.D. Vance is completely funded by billionaires. Pete Hegseth was pushed by billionaires. They're now saying things like being homeless is a crime. Being poor is a crime. Being addicted is a crime. So when they're at Union Station and they're talking about the crimes, what they're talking about is poor people. And that they want poor people to be out of sight. Because how can people come to Washington, D.C. and be proud if there's poor people around? Maybe we ought to do something about poor people. Maybe we ought to do something about wealth inequality. The Republican strategy now is openly, poor people are icky and we must hide them. We must move poor people. Because what if other countries come here and realize who the fuck we are? This is what Moscow does. This is what North Korea does. What Vietnam does. It's what they've done in Venezuela. It's what they do when they bring in. I Show Speed got accused of this in China. They bring you in, and they give you a picture of the country that is not realistic. Washington, D.C., seeing that there are homeless people in Washington, D.C., that is reflective of every U.S. city I've been in. And by the way, like my recent travels, they haven't taken me to progressive cities. I live in Mesa, Arizona. There are homeless people. This is very conservative. I go back and forth to Utah, both in Salt Lake City and Utah County. Utah County might be the most conservative place in the country. There are homeless people. Salt Lake City, downtown Salt Lake City, used to have homeless people in a park. You know where they are now? Across the railroad tracks. They moved them. They just moved them out of the way. They didn't do anything to address that wealth inequality. They just said, fuck you, you gotta go. And if you go through these encampments at Las Vegas, you go through these encampments, what you'll find out is that a lot of these people are working. I was just not in Los Angeles. I was in, I forget where I was when I filmed for Jubilee. I forget where that is. There was a park, and they had food trucks out in this park. So I went out to grab some food from a food truck, and I talked to a guy who was getting out of his truck, a nice truck, into his tent. Basically just said, like, hey, I make a decent living here. I make like 50 grand, but I can't afford anything here. Like my choices are move 2 hours away and commute, which I can't do. Like, that's too expensive. Or I can live here in a tent in a park. And he was driving. It was like probably like a 2017 F-150. He had a job. He had a car. He had insurance. Just couldn't afford to live there. Wasn't a criminal. But this administration, full of elites, a billionaire president, a billionaire funded vice president, a billionaire funded cabinet. They just don't like the optics. They want to sell success to America. They want to tell you, MAGA voters, that America's actually successful. And because they can't fucking do it, because they can't do math, and they're doubling down on failed economic policies like trickle-down economics, which is literally like 2 + 2 is pickle. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't work. It's never worked. But because the people who pay their bills they like the fact that they have all the money. They love that. So now, because they can't do anything about wealth inequality, because it's getting worse, now they're just going to start hiding poor people. And that's what they're saying here. We're here at Union Station. We're here at the National Mall because we don't like the optics. I don't like when people come to our nation's capital and they realize that there's poor people. I don't like when they come to our nation's capital and they realize that the United States has a fucking drug epidemic caused by predatory big pharma and a lack of access to health care. Oh, yeah, and also an illicit drug trade, which is largely propped up by the fact that millions of people in America can't get access to health care. And that health care is tied to your job. And even when you have health care, it is unaffordable for most people to use that health care. And rather than addressing a single one of those problems, Republicans are now saying people who don't have homes are icky, and they make us feel icky. And so we're sending in the National Guard to get rid of the icky people.
Right here in Union Station, You have vagrants, you have drug addicts, you have the chronically homeless, you have the mentally ill who harass.
None of those are crimes. We have the homeless, the vagrant, the drug addicted, and the mentally ill. None of those are a crime. They're just openly saying it. We don't like these people. We don't like the poors. We need to get rid of the poors. I've never seen such class warfare ever. Republicans used to hide it. They used to talk behind closed doors about this. I have a side of my family that I don't know because I'm adopted. So it's like a side of my adopted family, and they're all MAGA. And it is crazy the way that they talk about homeless people. And they're like some of them live in like the San Francisco, the Bay Area, some of them in Dallas, but in major metropolitan cities that are all run by Democrats. And they all say the same thing. It used to be a good place to live till the Democrats came in, and now there's all these people who are homeless. It's like, yeah, that's not Democrats. Like, that's wealth inequality. It's just wealth inequality, and you guys are rich. Yeah. How is it that you're so rich and they're so poor? Wealth inequality. Now instead of addressing wealth inequality, Republicans are like, what if we just made wealth inequality a crime, where if you don't have money, you're a criminal?
Who threaten violence, who attack families, and they've done it for far too long. This should be a monument to American greatness. This should be a place where you can come and share a meal or go shopping with your family. It should not be a place where parents of small children are afraid to bring them, because to Stephen's point, we have empowered criminals over the people who actually need public safety in the city. So I think Union Station is a great example of what's possible when you actually have the political willpower to bring law and order and common decency back to the public spaces of the United States of America. So many...
Moto Gem, it's crazy. Like, you're playing identity politics and fighting a straw man. You said, as a Hispanic, I 100% say you're wrong. Show me proof they are just arresting Hispanics. Nobody said that, dipshit. Nobody said that. I said that they are arresting people because they are Hispanic. There are thousands of examples of people who are citizens or have legal status who have been stopped, detained, sometimes handcuffed, sometimes put in detention centers, sometimes put in jails, who were here legally, but they were stopped because they look Hispanic. And when they didn't have the documentation to prove that they were citizens, they were detained. Don't fight. Like, if you're going to use your identity as a Hispanic to turn against your Hispanic friends and family, maybe do it on a non-straw man argument. Maybe listen to what the fuck I just said before you use your Hispanicness to argue it. Like, you just tried to play identity politics with the straw man right now. Nobody loves identity politics like the right. Especially like a MAGA person who isn't white, somebody who's not white and MAGA, that's like, as a whatever, or non-white man, as a woman, I don't care. Address the real argument. Are people being stopped because they're Hispanic? Yes. Is that unconstitutional? Yes. I live in Arizona. This was the case. We had the case here. It was Joe Arpaio stopping people for looking Hispanic. The courts told him, no, you can't do that. That's unconstitutional. He said, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyways. Then he was convicted of a crime for doing that. It was a felony. The courts have ruled that unconstitutional. It will be deemed unconstitutional what they do when it finally gets through the courts. But it's going to take years to get through the courts because they're going to slow roll it at every point. No, the Hispanics were here legally and being arrested for felony. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. All right. QH Danny, thank you for the super chat. Amy Lynn said, did you see the videos of them telling people they couldn't drink a beer or smoke on their porch? Yeah, I did see that. I don't know what the laws are in DC. I meant to look that up. I did see that there were people drinking on their porch and they said you can't do that. Like, there's a public ordinance for intoxication. I also thought that the law enforcement officer that was there was being really polite. I do think some of these law enforcement officers, it sucks that they get looped in. I thought he was saying, like, guys, I've given you a break. Can you go in? I don't know what the law is there. It's possible. A city could A city could ban that. A city could ban you drinking on your porch, I think. But I don't know if there is a law against that or not. So I didn't play it. If anybody knows the ordinance there, if there is an ordinance against that, let me know. But I could see, like in Utah, that would be against the law. Like Utah, you can't. I think Utah, you have to hide it. I think you have to like be in a closet to drink. It was crazy the amount of laws we have in Utah. Like I go to St. George once a year to play a golf tournament, and if you go there, sometimes I bring up some of my friends from Arizona, and if you go to a bar, like you just want to drink, like you go to dinner and then you go to a bar, it doesn't really exist. You have to order food with your drink no matter what, unless you are just a bar, in which case you can't really have a kitchen. The laws in Utah are bizarre, so I don't know if, and I do think that in places where they've had high crime, we've tried a lot of things. I honestly don't necessarily blame people in DC that live in violent neighborhoods. I don't even necessarily blame them for saying like, oh, the National Guard coming in might actually be helpful. I can resonate with that. I'd say like if I was in a really dangerous neighborhood and there was nothing I could do about it, and then the National Guard showed up, I could see that some of these people in DC might be thankful. They might even support it. Like even Muriel Bowser, she's been lukewarm with some of this stuff. And I want to make sure that the criticism is directed in the right place. My criticism is directed at stuff like with what J.D. Vance is doing. It's also my criticism with ICE. They tell us one thing. They tell us that you're in danger and we're going to fix that. And you're like, okay, cool. And then they go out and they don't go after the danger. They go after the people who aren't causing any problems. They're not, it's not them going through the most violent neighborhoods. You saw they're marching through the streets where there's just like people eating. And it comes off really elitist. It comes off really classist. That in the violent neighborhoods, like they still have problems. When there's gang violence, when there's drug violence, those neighborhoods still have problems. And that's not where we're sending people. But you got to sit there and eat and feel protected. Because what? Because like a couple people got mugged? Ironically, it's the same administration that is defunding police forces all over the country. Like they're cutting funding everywhere. I do think that this was like a calculated move by Trump. I do think that, and it's a Project 2025 move. This has always been their goal. They want to federalize the police. They don't think that each state should be policing on their own. They don't really like states' rights when it comes to law enforcement. They don't like states' rights on a lot of things. They would love if the federal government could put its heavy foot down on everything. I'm going to get to some Tom Tillis quotes here, but even the Republicans now are starting to see it. And Trump is just becoming more and more brazen. Now he's openly saying like, hey, we're going to go other places. I know that they used DC to like, I think they used it to test like how the American public would feel, but Trump has a right as president and as commander in chief to send in the National Guard to DC. He has that right. I don't like what he's doing, but I'm not going to sit here and make the claim that what he's doing is unconstitutional yet. But as soon as he starts going into other cities and doing police work with federal federal troops, we're immediately in a constitutional crisis. Because Trump's not allowed to do that unless we have martial law. And he's doing it at a time when we have historic lows in crime. He's also trotting out. It's not lost on me, and I can't believe it's not lost on you. He's wearing a hat that says, "I'm right about everything." Obviously, Trump is not right about everything. This is more North Korea shit. It is unbelievable how quickly Americans are ready to just be like, "Fuck it, we're doing authoritarianism. Fuck it. Fuck all of it." And I don't know what was so bad for you. We're literally at historic lows with crime. And it's so bad that you're just willing to hand over the reins to the federal government. You guys are in charge of everything now. He's wearing a hat. First of all, why is the president wearing a hat all the time? I don't know why. You guys got mad at Obama for wearing a suit. You got mad at Zelensky for wearing a T-shirt. I don't know why Trump goes out with a hat all the time. But to wear a hat that literally says, "I was right about everything," is crazy. I would never wear that hat. That's a crazy thing to wear. You'll notice I don't wear a lot of like my own branding because it feels weird to me. Like I don't want to wear a hoodie with my own face on it. That's a weird thing to do. But now here's what he says. Like, I'm just going to do this everywhere. Let's see if you guys stop me.
But to me, D.C. is very exciting. And a lot of people say, well, where's he going from there? Well, I have calls from politicians begging me to go to Chicago, begging me to go to New York, begging me to go to Los Angeles. And if we didn't go to Los Angeles with Newsom, they run it so badly, I don't think we would have been able to have the Olympics. They would have ripped it.
That's so crazy. Two things I want to address in the chat. Like, this is how fucked you guys are, MAGA. Like, this is why you guys are so fucked. Is because I say something like crime is at historic lows, and you guys say, oh, there's shootings. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't say crime doesn't exist. I said it's at historic lows. So why are we acting like now is the time that we need a federal takeover? That's number one. Number two is you don't seem to understand how our Constitution functions, and you don't seem to recognize or care that he only is going after blue cities, which are not the most violent places. You would have I would still oppose it, by the way. Like if Donald Trump was going to Oklahoma City, to Shreveport, Louisiana, I think Columbia, or not Columbia, I think Charleston, South Carolina is up there too. If he were going to these red states with the National Guard, I would still oppose it. It's still wrong. It's still not what we want. I promise you guys that this authoritarian world that you're going down is not where you want to fucking be. This is what happened in Russia. The people said, oh, well, we need Putin. He's a strong man. And Putin's like, hey, I'm just going to take care of the crime, and then I'm going to give you back your freedom. They never got it back. They don't have real elections there anymore. If you run against him, you get killed. There has never been a time when we've gone authoritarian where they give it back. So while you might support it now, and you might say, well, you know what? I live in Chicago, or I live in Los Angeles, and I have seen crime. I want that crime gone. I resonate with that. My house has been broken into. I held a human being at gunpoint. My car has been broken into multiple times. I've had crime committed against me. I wish my neighborhood was safer, even though I live in a nice neighborhood. I wish it was safer. But what I'm not willing to do is consolidate all the power into one person's hands. Because at some point it might be you, MAGA. At some point it just might be you. You might lose your job. Wherever you work, you might lose it. There's not jobs forever. Some industries die. And you might lose your job, and you might not have access to another job. And you might not have access to a house. And then one day when you're out there living in a tent with your family, or living in your tent alone, trying to find a job, doing anything. You can't find a job, so fuck it. You might panhandle. You might offer to work under the table. You might go do a cash job somewhere. And then at some point, some dude in a mask, in camouflage with an assault rifle, comes to you and says, hey, you gotta get the fuck out. What did I do? You're homeless. You gotta go over there with all the other people. Well, it's violent over there. That's where you send all the violent criminals. I was trying to stay away from them. I know I don't have a house, but I'm just here to work. I'm just trying to until I find a job. Nope, you gotta go. You gotta go because this city needs to look good for the rich people. The rich folks need to come in here and not feel bad about the fact that there's homeless people. That's the reality. This isn't fear. Some of it is, but a lot of it too is just like people are embarrassed. People are embarrassed that Washington, D.C. looks like that. When I go back home to Utah and I go down through Provo and I go to Salt Lake City, I am embarrassed that there's that many people living without a home. I know how much money's there. I know how rich some of these people are in Utah. I know how many billions of dollars have been made in Utah with the Silicon Slopes. It's embarrassing. But a lot of people rather than saying like it's embarrassing, we should fix it, the lazy, selfish mindset of conservatism, modern day conservatism says, fuck it. Get him out of here. I don't want to address this. It's my day off. I'm trying to have a picnic with my family. Why do I need to be reminded that poor people exist? Get them the fuck out. And even if you don't say it that way, like maybe you just quietly stand by and you're like, I did vote for Trump. I don't like it. But do you do anything to stop it? We're legitimately doing class warfare right now. The vice president, Stephen Miller, and the secretary of defense are talking about it being a crime to be poor. And it's embarrassing and gross to be poor. And so we can't have embarrassing, gross, poor people here in D.C. So we got to move them somewhere.
Down that city.
We need a chat chirper bingo card. They all say the same one every day. Amy Lynn said John Bolton's residence and office being searched by the FBI. I'll get to that in a minute. My voice it's going to struggle to make it today. Here's the one. Thank you, Jen. Jen found it. Here's Stephen Miller.
Thank you. And first of all, thank you to the Vice President for bringing us here today. Thank you, Secretary, for your leadership. And most importantly, thank you to the men and women of the National Guard. I think here's the most important point. There are residents who lived in Washington, D.C. their entire lives. Their parents lived here. Their grandparents lived here. And they have lived for generations in intolerable conditions of crime and decay. There are parts of the city, I moved to the city 20 years ago. There are places where I've seen graffiti that has been untouched for 2 decades.
Graffiti. We're talking about fucking graffiti. This sounds like my mom is running policy. I don't like icky graffiti. By the way, Melissa said, please say icky again, silly tits. Icky. I don't like it. It doesn't look good. Let's throw people in jail.
There are homeless encampments that have made it impossible for families to use public parks and public recreation for as long as I've lived here.
Maybe we do something about homelessness. Again, not a crime. Guys, I'm at, like, this is the stage that we're at. In every fucking movie in the history of the world, he's the fucking bad guy. Do you guys remember the movie? It was Will Smith. I forget what it was called, where he's broke as shit and he goes on and he takes on this unpaid internship and he finally wins a job, Pursuit of Happiness. And he finally makes it. And the story of that is like, you made it. But all along the way in that story, there's like a rich guy that offers him $20 and never or borrows $20 from him. And it's the last 20 he has. And he gives it to him to get this job because he has to kiss the ass of this all-white board of rich guys. He gets thrown in jail at one point for unpaid parking tickets, runs back. He runs into the office, and they make this, like, the scene is cool. He's covered in paint. And the rich guys across the table go, what do you think that my friends would say if I told them that I hired this guy who came into an interview covered in paint? And Will Smith's like, well, I probably would say he had one hell of a pair of pants. This story, the moral to that story, and Hollywood's been doing this forever, is if it's okay if you live entirely homeless, as long as you kiss the ass of these rich white guys, then you might get a job. And remember, he's the one selection from, like, there's a whole bunch of people. They do like Hunger Games for a fucking job. That's what that story is. They make all of these people work for free 12 hours a day to prove that they can work in this job, so they can get a job to work 12 hours a day. And maybe, just maybe one day, they might be rich enough to look down on other poor people. That's what we're doing here. Stephen Miller's like, guys, the real problem in America is families can't go to a park. Well, I agree. I think families should be able to go to a park, but not at the expense of other human beings who are trying to live in a safe place because they can't afford somewhere else. Heaven forbid they have, like, community. Heaven forbid somebody who can't afford an apartment in D.C. By the way, a member of Congress, Republican Congress, was paying $20,000 a month for his apartment in D.C. Heaven forbid that person live in a semi-nice place. And you guys want us to give a flying fuck about the rich family that's like, they don't have a nice park to go have a picnic because these gross people who don't have jobs are there. This is legitimate. Like, this is evil in every movie, in every annal of history. This is the evil person saying poor people are icky. We must move them for this nice and white family. That's what he's imagining right now. This family with means, they need a place to get out of their massive house. Oh, they're so cooped up in their house that they need to come to a place, and it can't be interrupted by people who don't have a house. People need to be able to escape their house and not have to deal with poor people. That's what they're saying.
There are hundreds of residents of this city who are shot in street violence every single year, making it one of the most violent cities on planet Earth. And for too long, 99% of...
So do something about the drug war. Do something about it. We've actually tried this before. We've tried over-policing. We've done it in D.C., we've done it in Maryland, we've done it in Chicago, we've done it in New York. It doesn't fix the problem. It largely makes people more violent, and it makes the police more likely to get shot. Give these people in poor communities another fucking option that makes sense. Give them another way out of that community. Give them something to look forward to. Give them some hope. Give them education. Give them good teachers. Give them resources. Don't over police. What's that going to do? You're going to throw more people in jail? You're going to radicalize more families? You're going to break up more families? Now that person, when they come out of jail, I've been rewatching The Wire lately. I forget the character's name, but there's that one guy that gets out of jail, I think in season 3. And he immediately gets out of jail. He goes and sees his sister who's doing well. And she sets him up with the pastor, and the pastor's trying to get him a job. He goes to Home Depot and he just stands there and he's doing under the table work. And he can't afford anything, but he can't get a real job because he's a felon. So then he just goes back in to what he was doing before, which is the drug trade. Give him something better. You're just exacerbating the problem. The problem with people like Stephen Miller and Pete Hegseth and JD Vance, these whiny little pussy bitches, is that they don't ever look at history and say what should we do? If you don't want people, do you think everybody do you think kids grow up saying I want to sell drugs? No, the only reason they want to do that is because they're looking in their community and the people with all the money are the ones that are selling drugs. So if they don't want to live poor their whole life in that community, that's the only thing they can actually look at. Anybody who winds up making money outside of the drug trade, they leave the community. Let's pour in some resources there. I don't know why Republicans why you insist on the cruelty. Why you insist on the heavy-handedness of the government. Why you want daddy government to do fucking everything. Pour some money into these cities. Give them resources. Give them education. It works. Everywhere that we do that, we see some results. And then we don't ever see we don't see the results quick enough, and then we're oh fuck it, let's go back to over policing again. And then you just exacerbate the problem and exacerbate the problem. This happens in all poor communities all over the country. Go look through rural North Carolina, rural South Carolina. I lived in Greenville for a while. Go out there. Go out to Darlington, South Carolina. What problems are they having? Drug problems. Why? Because the people growing up there don't have other options. There's nowhere for them to go. There's no hope. Their school system is also shit. There's no resources. If you grow up in a poor community that is underfunded, 90% of you are just going to stay poor. Because nobody ever helped you get out. People need a help. People need a hand. People need to learn new things. People need to learn how to better their lives in their communities. But they also need resources to do that. It's not a pull yourself up by the bootstraps thing. But pointing a gun in somebody's face, taking their dad, taking their brother, taking their sister and throwing them in jail, you're not doing anything. They're just going to live in perpetual fear. And so now what are you doing? You're setting up a scenario where what happens? You have to stay there forever. If Donald Trump is here claiming I ended the crime, which he is claiming, what happens when they leave? Will people just stop committing crime? Is there any evidence that this is a long-term solution? I don't think so. I've never seen this work. Again, I think the only reason you guys support it is because it's Trump. So when Trump does it, you're stuck. You have to support it because he is the ideology. He is the party. He's everything to you guys. I'm just asking, can some of you be human for a second? This isn't political. Can you just be human? Can we treat other people like human beings? Can we not talk about them like this? Do we really need the Secretary of Defense and his white nationalist buddy here talking about poor people like they're scum? Is this necessary? Same guy, by the way, Stephen Miller. One of the first things that he was famous for is saying you should just be able to litter because like that's what janitors are for. That's what these shitbag janitors are for. Just throw your trash on the ground. Keep them employed. It's the same guy.
This city has been terrorized by 1% of the city. And the voices that you hear out there, those crazy communists, they have no roots. They have no connections to the city. They have no families they are raising in this city. They have no one that they are sending to school in this city. They have no jobs in this city. They have no connections to this community at all. But they're the ones who've been advocating for the 1%, the criminals, the killers, the rapists, the drug dealers. And I'm glad they're here today.
You're advocating for the 1%. You are. You represent the 1%.
Because me, Pete, and the Vice President are all going to leave here, and inspired by them, we're going to add thousands more resources to this city to get the criminals and the gang members out of here. We're going to dismantle those networks, and we're going to prove that a city can serve for the law-abiding citizens who live there. We are not going to let the communists destroy a great American city, let alone the nation's capital. And let's just also address one other thing.
The communists? Who the fuck are the communists? Somebody just said he's Goebbels. Yeah, what the fuck? Like this is just now it's the communists. Where the fuck did communism come in right here? Where the fuck did we get communism? The communists did this. See this thing they're doing right now, where they're taking over cities and using this force. The communists that he hates, Mao, USSR. This is what they did. He's doing, ironically, like, he's doing the thing that they criticize communists for. Notice they never criticize communists for, like, wanting to take care of poor people. That's never the criticism. The criticism that they all levy against communists is that communists turn into authoritarian rule. This is authoritarian rule. They're saying, these fucking communists, we can't let the communists who don't fucking exist. That's not a group of people that exist that are controlling DC. That's a straw man. So they're creating, like they always do, oh, we have to be authoritarian because if we don't, the communists are going to be authoritarian. Name a communist. Who is it? Show me on the bear where the communists hurt you. Who the fuck are the communists in this country? We don't have very many. Certainly none that are in power. This is how stupid they think you are, MAGA. I want you to know this. He knows what he's saying. He knows there are no communists. He just thinks you're this fucking stupid. He's like, all I have to do is make them scared about something, and then they'll let us do whatever the fuck we want. If I scare them enough about communists and poor people, they won't care that we're the authoritarians. He's talking directly to you. He thinks you're stupid. I think you're better than that. I'm more hopeful about you guys. I think you're all right. But he thinks you're a fucking idiot. I think you guys are going to be able to figure this out. But he doesn't. He's like, they'll never know. They'll never figure out that there's no like communist group that's trying to take control of the city. They'll never figure that out. They'll just assume I'm right and that we're at war. And so they won't care when we strip away all their rights.
All these demonstrators that you've seen out here in recent days, all of these elderly white hippies, they're not part of the city and never have been. And by the way, most of the citizens who live in Washington,
they live in the city, these elderly white hippies. Okay, let's talk about not from the city. Not from the city, not from the city, not from the city. What the fuck is he talking about? None of these people are from the city. They're talking about actual residents. They're like, these residents aren't from the city. Are you saying born and raised? Like, certainly, if they're from the city, like, they can speak that way if you can speak that way. What, do you have to be born and raised in D.C. now to have an opinion?
D.C. are black. This is not a city that has had any safety for its black citizens for generations. And President Trump is the one who is fixing that with the support of the Metropolitan Police Department, the support of the National Guard, and our federal law enforcement officers.
Except for 2 weeks ago, Stephen Miller said those black communities needed to be bulldozed. You see, the white nationalist, the actual white nationalist who has advocated multiple times for resegregation, who said we should bulldoze those black neighborhoods and start over, he's down there saying like, oh, we're for you. We're also for you, black residents of DC. We're here for you. Bullshit. You guys can't be this dumb. You just can't be this dumb.
So we're going to ignore these stupid white hippies that all need to go home and take a nap because they're all over 90 years old, and we're going to get back to the business of protecting the American people and the citizens of Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah. The three white dudes who two are definitively racist. Pete Hegseth and Stephen Miller, like on the record racist. And then J.D. Vance, who's like a careful. If you want to say that he's not racist, that's fine. I think he's careful with his language. But two of the most prominent racists in our country are like, we're for you guys. All right. Here is, this was a discussion I saw on Abby Phillips' show on CNN. And again, it's just the disconnect of reality here. And it goes, the reason I wanted to show this is, forget what Downey's first name is. It'll show. What I want you to see here in this interaction is that we're trying to have a real discussion here. Abby Phillips is trying to have a real discussion here about what's actually happening. And these folks on the right, because they don't have statistics, what they're telling you now, and they're going to say it openly, both Downey and this guy, what they're both going to tell you is, don't look at the statistics. Listen to this story I'm telling you. Just hear a story. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about trying to get an accurate depiction of what's happening in DC, because if you're not there, you don't know. And if you're in some neighborhoods, you don't know. Like different neighborhoods, your reality is different. Where you live is your reality. So the only way that we can really accurately look at DC is if we're looking at the numbers, if we look at the data. And if we're looking at the data and we're comparing it to other cities, I think that's a fair thing to do. Is there violence in DC? Yes. Should we do something about it? Yes. Are there drug problems in DC? Yes. Should we do something about it? Yes. Are there too many homeless people in DC? Yes. Should we do something about it? Yes. Everybody agrees with that. What you're going to see from Republicans for the next week or so as they try and defend this is they are going to, again, do what all Republicans do. They are going to create a straw man, just like Stephen Miller just did. They're going to say communist. They're going to create an argument that people on the left aren't making. And they're going to use that crazy argument to say they just don't live in reality. Same thing you're seeing in the chat here today. They're all saying, I don't live in reality. Oh, you're lying. What the fuck are you talking about? Because you're indoctrinated by stories and you're not looking at data. And you're creating a straw man that you're hearing. I just told all of you that there are crime problems, that there are violence problems, that there are drug problems, and that there are problems with homelessness in DC. I have acknowledged all four issues that every one of these people is going to address. And yet in the chat, and I hope you guys call them out, in the chat, you are going to have multiple Republicans creating a straw man of something I didn't say. They're going to say, oh, what? So you're just saying there's no crime? Oh, what? So you're saying we should do nothing? No, I just acknowledged the four things and said we should do something about it. And the only way that they're going to be able to argue this is by straw manning my position and pretending that that's not the position I took. And you're going to see it here on CNN too. And as you guys have these conversations, if you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, if you're having these conversations with your friends, do not let them straw man you. Do not let them straw man the position and call it out. Every fucking time they create a straw man position, point it out, ask them who said that. And they're all going to go, oh, that's what everybody says. Are you kidding? What it's going to wind up being, if they ever get a source, it's going to be just like someone on Twitter. And they're going to apply that to the whole of the left because it's the only way that this makes sense. Because let's talk reality. Donald Trump is addressing a problem that we all agree exists. But he's addressing it with authoritarianism, with government overreach, ignoring states' rights. And the only possible way for you guys to defend that is to be worked up into a hysteria where you feel that is the only option on the table. And the only way you're going to be worked up into a hysteria to believe that that's the only option on the table is if you are flooded with stories. Because you can't look at the data and view this the same way. But if you hear 10 different stories and they make you feel emotional, and they make you feel angry, and they make you feel scared, then you will stand by your point regardless of the data. I'm calling out exactly how you're about to respond to this clip. Please, MAGA, for the love of God, prove to us once and for all that you are not all programmed NPCs. When I play this clip, and we've already addressed that there is crime and we should do something about it, please don't be the people who strawman the position. Please don't allow this woman and this man to strawman the position and agree with it. Don't do that, because we've already told you what you're going to do. Find a new answer that is your own. Use your own brain.
365 days a year. So when all of this show is over, what happens in D.C.?
Well, but that's not correct, that Democrats haven't been disputing that this is a problem, right? It'd be one thing to say.
Who is the Democrat that said it wasn't, that there was no crime in D.C.? Who is it? Now I'm going to wait. Republicans, I need a name. Which Democrat has said that there is no crime problem in D.C.? See, there it is. Well, there's the CNN clip. We already got the CNN. We predicted that. Look at that. They're pointing at CNN. This is a Republican, Caroline Downey. She works for the National Review. This is a National Review comment. Who is it? Who said it, Republicans? Who said it? Who said there's no crime in D.C.? Who has been going on TV from the Democratic Party saying that there is no crime problem in D.C.? Just name it. I need to see a name here. I'm looking in the TikTok chat. I'm looking in the YouTube and the Twitch chat. I'm not Rachel Maddow. That says Rochelle Maddow. She didn't say that. You can. Do you have a clip for that? Maddow. They don't know. Nancy Pelosi. They're just saying the names. Send the clips, folks. Send them. Send the clips. I bet I can find a clip of Nancy Pelosi and Rachel Maddow talking about crime in D.C. Watch, we can do that. Jen, while this clip is playing, will you find me a clip of Nancy Pelosi and Rachel Maddow acknowledging crime in D.C.? Thank you.
It would be accurate to say that this is a temporary Band-Aid solution that deserves a long-term solution. But Democrats aren't saying that. They're pretending like the problem doesn't exist. And also, do we believe that they're prepared to implement the solution? Let's just look at the history of the D.C. Police Department.
That Democrats are saying that there's no crime in D.C.
The last several weeks they've been saying.
Watch this. Listen to this example. This is how it's a straw man position. I don't know how this guy can even exist the way that he does. This is the problem with fucking all of MAGA, is you guys don't, you can't hear questions. You're terrible active listeners. She just said, is there any, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nobody saying there's no crime, right? So his answer should be somebody who said there's no crime. Instead, here's his answer.
Oh, well,
they are
saying this is down 30%. This is down 20%.
Let's put our
Yeah, they're pointing the crime. They're pointing at the data that says crime is down. Yep. Is that anybody saying that there's no crime in D.C.? So what we have here is we have two people who start with a straw man that we say there's no crime in D.C. What's your evidence of that? They said that it's down 30%, 20%. That doesn't mean there's no crime. That means it went down 30% one year, 20% the next year. It is 36%. They say crime is down 36%, implying there's no problem. No, that's not the implication. What we're saying is this is a response, and I don't know why you guys don't get this. Like, I don't know if you've ever had conversations. This is how this happened. You didn't have a bunch of Democrats out there going, just bragging, crime is down 36% in Washington, D.C. In fact, the only public figure I know that bragged about crime being down in D.C. was Kash Patel in April, when he said we're at historic lows for murder. Kash Patel said that, but it's not like Democrats were running around. And this is why you guys are so fucking easy to dupe. So Trump says, I'm going to send in the National Guard to D.C. After what? Have you noticed that Trump hasn't been saying this? Trump's been in office since January. You guys haven't talked about D.C. What happened? What chain of events happened that led to this? A Republican got beat up. That's what happened. A Republican got beat up. So Republicans took a story and said, because a Republican got beat up, now we're going to send in the troops. Notice when all this crime was going on, all this other crime that they're citing, they didn't give a fuck. All this crime that they say they're going in to fix, they didn't give a fuck that crime was happening. And they were bragging about the crime rate going down, taking credit for years that they weren't even in office. So a Republican gets beat up. They send in the National Guard. And the Democrats' response is, whoa, hold up. Like, you guys are taking over the city. There's a lot of people upset about this. And if you're going to go out, if you're going to say that you're taking over the city to take down crime, can we work together? Crime is down, like it's going in the right direction. And if you guys come in here, that could potentially fuck that up. It was a response to what you guys did. And you take the response to what you did and you pretend that that's what we were saying all along. Nobody was talking about it. We're responding to you guys saying crime is out of control. So we have to go to DC. A Republican got beat up. So then you guys started lying. Crime is out of control. It's a hellhole. We've got to stop it now. And we're going, wait, hold on. We're making progress. Don't call it a hellhole. Don't be inaccurate about it. And you guys are like, it must have been the libs. The libs started this. You're way too easy to dupe. You've got to be better than this. You just have to be better than this. If we're ever going to fix this country, it's going to start with having conversations based on reality. We can't even have them here. Abby Phillips simply asks, who is saying that there is no crime in DC? And he goes, they said it was down. Yep. See how that's not an answer? And now they're going to tell us more stories because they're not going to get into the data. They're not going to defend their talking point that that's all we're saying, which we're not saying. They're just going to keep talking over and trying to make you scared of DC.
Thinking caps on here for just a second. There's a difference between there is no crime and crime has been decreasing, which is a fact, okay? Even if you don't like the numbers, murders, okay? You're either dead or you're not dead, decreasing over the last couple of years. So there's a difference between those two things, and I understand the rhetoric of it all, but no Democrat is saying that there's no crime in this city.
You think DC is genuinely safe?
See what I mean? Like, can we have a fucking conversation? I resonate with what she's doing right now, like, because this is what it's like talking to a Republican. You just tell them, like, hey, the way that you're speaking about what we think is not true. Here's what we think. And then she goes, oh, so you're saying it's safe? No, that's not what she said. Can you listen? Can you hear? This face to me, this is like every time I debate a MAGA, it's just like, Jesus Christ. Like, can you guys just repeat what I said? Why is it always hyperbole? Just going back to see it again. Like, watch her just change it.
Murders, okay? You're either dead or you're not dead, decreasing over the last couple of years. So there's a difference between those two things, and I understand the rhetoric of it all, but no Democrat is saying that there's no crime.
Do you think DC is
no Democrat is saying that there's no crime
in this city?
You think DC is genuinely safe?
How do you have that conversation? I get everybody's doing the like I'm rubber, you're glue shit in the chat, but like, how do you have a conversation here? I beg you guys to talk about this every fucking day. How are we ever going to have a conversation when no matter what I say, you're going to change what I say? This is why the last debate I did on Raging Tomato is the last debate I'll do on Raging Tomato. That's why I had to create signs saying that they were going to reframe the argument. Because the only way for Republicans to defend what's going on now is to create an alternate reality where there's this authoritarian disconnect from reality on the left that they are fighting against. Because if you take what they're doing against what the left is actually saying, then it's very clear that they're just authoritarian. And it's weird to watch you guys, like, it's weird to watch your pride be more important than like your future. That's a bizarre thing to me. Like you just won't admit that your side is lying. So you're like, fuck it, we'll just do authoritarianism because I'm so arrogant that I'm not willing to admit what's going on right before our eyes. This is obvious to everybody. Like, I see this a lot on TikTok and Twitter, but like other countries saying, I saw one yesterday of people saying like, would you go to America? And they're like, now? No. Like, would you move to Germany in 1940? No. What? No. Why would I move there now? Like, We have less rights in America than we do in the UK.
Do you understand what you're
Did
saying?
Did I say that?
Do you think the current DC Police Department is equipped
Caroline,
to tackle this problem?
I say that DC is safe?
Do you
did
think
I say
they're
that?
tackling the non-safety correctly?
You just said do you think DC is safe? I did not say that.
I'm glad you conceded that.
I lived there for a while.
Thanks, Jeff. Jeff was here yesterday debating me. Jeffrey, not on my side, says I'm right. Dems say it's down, not non-existent. I appreciate the good faith move there, Jeffrey. Not all MAGA is bad. I still hate all your positions, Jeffrey, but I appreciate you willing to acknowledge that.
While I used to own a home there, I understand the nature of crime in DC. I understand the nature of crime outside of the mall.
Do you think the local government was going to tackle it?
That is not the issue.
Do you think the government was going to tackle it?
The question is, what is the solution? Is the solution a 30-day...
She's desperate not to answer this question. And this is the thing that you guys keep doing. Like, you just keep move the goalposts. Try desperately to get us to defend a position that we don't defend. But again, like, all we're saying is you guys are lying. And for you guys, the way that you explain your lies is to make us, like, you try and force us into a position where we're lying. We're not. I don't really, again, like, Trump is within his rights to send in the National Guard. Do you guys really think this will fix the problem long term? Or does the National Guard now have to stay there long term? And what does that mean for DC? Is DC just always a police state now? No matter where you go in DC, are you going to see the National Guard? And the people that signed up to serve in the National Guard, did they sign up to be beat cops? Is this what we want? And if this is what you want with America, that's fine, but admit it. Admit it that you want the police around all the time and that you don't feel safe unless there's just police walking up and down the street. National Guard. That's fine. If you want to live in a police state, I just wish you guys would be honest about it. It's weird to advocate for a police state and then say you're not for a police state. Just say that you're for a police state, and then we can have the debate.
Prolonged active
presence
policing,
of-
more cops on the beat, putting violent criminals in jail. Do you really believe that the Democrat-controlled
you're right.
is going to do that?
You're right.
Over the last several
Hold on a second.
over the last several years, you guys,
hold on a second.
the
You are
DC
right.
police budget stagnated, and 700 cops were taken out of the police department.
Correct.
Yeah. Who gives them that DC? Where's that DC budget come from? Just give them give them a bigger budget. Trump is literally defunding the police all over this country. The big beautiful bill has cut the budgets for policing. You don't think that was on purpose? Let's just say let's take the guesswork out, okay? Because admittedly, I can't prove that Trump wants to be an authoritarian. I can't prove it. I can try and convince you of it, but I can't prove it. But let's just say you were an authoritarian. Okay, let's just say that you were. How would you make sure, if you were, and you were the American president, if you were an American president and you were an authoritarian, how would you make sure that other cities and other states did what you wanted? How would you make sure that you didn't have uprisings against you? Just imagine, it's not Trump, okay? It's somebody else. Whoever it's Nancy Pelosi. Let's just say Nancy Pelosi's president right now, MAGA. And let's say that she says, we're looking at Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is a place that's pretty controversial right now. You have a school board superintendent who's trying to force religion into every classroom. You have absurd abortion bans. And that would be a place that the Democrats would target, right? And let's just say that Nancy Pelosi wants to be an authoritarian. And so her first step is she takes the National Guard into Oklahoma City or Tulsa. And then you guys get mad. You're like, what the fuck? We have police here. Hey, this is Oklahoma, okay? We don't like you, Nancy Pelosi. You're a Democrat. We voted for a Republican here. We have states' rights. We have the ability to determine what we do on our own. You would not accept this. And then when you get mad and you're like, look, we just got a new governor here in Oklahoma and the crime rate's going down. He's been in office for 2 years. It's gone down every year. What are you doing here? It's working. The stuff that we're doing is obviously making a difference. Stay out of this. Don't fuck it up with your liberal policies. She comes, you'd be pissed as hell. And then when you got pissed, Nancy Pelosi would be like, hey, you shut your fucking mouth or I'm going to Tulsa. You want to see what happens? Trump's threatening other states today. You don't support this, see what happens. We'll see what happens if you don't accept this. I'm going to send my National Guard into other cities. And if you reject it, you're not going to like the consequences. Would you accept this if it was Nancy Pelosi? Texas, Florida, Alabama? Would you accept all of this stuff? No. You all have guns too. You'd have your guns right fucking now. So again, I just want you to look at it from the perspective of, am I an authoritarian? Am I comfortable at this point as an American citizen, as a MAGA Republican? Am I comfortable at this point of saying American democracy has failed, liberals get in the way too much, so we have to have authoritarianism. We have to make liberalism illegal. We have to make their ideas on how to do police work and law enforcement, we have to make all of that illegal. Are you comfortable being in that place? Because I think you are. It's just a matter of like, are you willing to address it? Yeah, Matt, you guys, Biden was a tyrant for asking you to wear a mask. That's such a good point. Didn't even force you to wear a mask. Just asked you to wear a mask. And you guys, you were ready to go to war. So I'm just asking. I understand that you agree with what Trump's doing. I just want to know, have you asked yourself, am I comfortable being an authoritarian? Have you asked yourself what the end goal is here? So let's say that Trump's there. He has 30 days in D.C. Let's say at the end of those 30 days, I think they said that there were no gunshots, I think, or something last night, or there's something Trump said today about gunshots. Let's just say at the end of 30 days, we've been in D.C., and there were less crimes. Okay, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. There were less crimes in D.C. He's been there for 30 days. At the end of those 30 days, if you don't leave, you can either leave, or now it's authoritarian control. Now it's federal control. And if he goes to Seattle, and he goes to Portland, and he goes to Los Angeles, and let's just say he puts enough troops there that it stops the crime. Are you cool then with keeping those troops there all the time? And then I've got one more question. Why is he trying to keep liberals safe? Why isn't he trying to keep you guys safe? Why is he not worried about the murder rate in red states? What's going on in Shreveport, Louisiana? What's going on in Oklahoma City? What's going on in Charleston, South Carolina? What's going on in Mobile, Alabama? What's going on in Jacksonville, Florida? You guys don't matter? You voted for him and he doesn't want to keep you safe? You guys thought about that? Why is it that the guy that you voted for to keep you safe is only keeping the liberal cities safe now? He's only talking about making those cities safe. Why? How would I take that as any other way that he just wants like authoritarian control? I think you know what I'm saying is true. I think you know why he's choosing liberal cities. I think you know why he's not choosing your cities. Because he doesn't give a fuck about safety. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He wants to squash the opposition. That's what he wants. He wants the opposition to fear him. He wants people to be afraid to vote. He wants people to be afraid to speak out. He's going after journalists. He's clearly going to go after TikTok. There will be times like those of us on this side of the aisle, like if Trump can get this going, we'll be attacked. They'll go after us too. He's not protecting you. He's going after his enemies. And you guys think for some reason that is protecting you. But just know, if you live in a red state and you have crime that's up in a red state, Donald Trump is completely ignoring you. He doesn't care if you die. He doesn't care if you get shot. He doesn't care if your car gets stolen. He just wants to take over blue cities. He just wants to be a dictator, an authoritarian, a strongman. And you guys like it too. Because that's what your entire ideology is. It's just owning the libs. You stand for absolutely fucking nothing. I dare you to give me a different excuse for that. Why doesn't he want red states to be safe? Why is that? Thanks, Marianne, for the super chat. Alexandria said, people cheering on the DC cleanup closer to being homeless than being millionaires with this administration. Agreed on that. Jen, do you want to do announcements real quick? Brittany said they keep people in prisons for legal slave labor. Yeah. That, ironically, yeah. You could maybe go and you could round up a bunch of people, throw them in jail for being homeless, and then great news. We've got slave labor. Don't believe this crap? All right, Meg. What do you want me to believe? Don't believe this crap? You guys are fucking cowards. Every fucking one of you. Don't believe it? Is he going out? Is he targeting any red state cities? Is he? Or am I dead right on that? I just asked a question. You don't even have to ask me what to believe. I asked you a question. Is he targeting red states or blue states? Blue states. Then I asked you a follow-up question. Why isn't he protecting the red state cities? I just want an answer for it. Hey, Jen.
Hey, do me a favor. Say
Yeah.
Tesla.
Tesla.
Okay.
Thank you.
See. I told you. She wanted me, CJ, so not CJ. CJ wanted me to remind you that it's pronounced mobile. And I told her there's lots of words you say wrong.
Wait,
so
didn't I? What did I say?
I don't know.
I didn't say mobile. That's surprising. I usually get that one right.
Well,
mobile.
I was told to correct you in the comments, but
All
I said
right.
you say lots of words wrong. So in fairness,
Sorry about that.
there's lots of things. I can't think of the other ones off the top of my head.
Mountain. It's anything with a T. It's anything with a T next to another consonant, like mountain. So that's,
I think I don't. Yeah, I mean that's a Utah thing. There's, I mean, California people, we don't say our T's either. Like, there's lots of T's in like the cities. Like, no one says Sacramento; it's Sacramento. So that's a thing with lots of places, I think. But anyway, so we've got about 2 hours left of the show, about an hour away from Friendly Friday, and we have it looks like you need to update the total.
yeah, I'm doing it right now.
So we've got that gift goal in the top left-hand corner. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats all go towards knocking out the rest of that balance. So if you guys could help us do that before Friendly Friday, that would be fantastic. As much as people want to cry about it, this is our job. So keep that gift goal helps us keep doing this Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 1 Pacific time. So if you guys could help us out with that, that would be fantastic. If you haven't subscribed to us already, wherever you're watching, you can have their subscriptions available wherever you're watching. On Twitch, you can use your Amazon Prime sub. And so you can use Bezos' money, you don't have to use yours. We have 4 different memberships on YouTube. And then I think we've got 3 on TikTok. If you're on TikTok watching, Jay likes to see how far he can push the button sometimes. So our TikTok agent has his work cut out for him lots of the time. So if you haven't already sent your daily heart me, please do that so you can help us there. And if you could gift and like the live, share it. It looks like if we could get to like 175 likes, 175K likes, and say 350 shares. I'm gonna be ambitious over there. That would help us out there as well. If you guys disagree with RTP, there's a lot of USC on YouTube. You guys can come up and talk to Jay. How you do that is if you look at the Venmo username, that is my Discord. You can send me a message on Discord and I can bring you on to talk to him in real time. You don't have to stay in the comments. Often you guys don't join. There's only been a handful that have, but you don't have to, just scream in the comments. You can actually come up and have a conversation if you'd like to do that. Check out our link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch. Jay's on Cameo, and we upload these episodes to Spotify. And let's see. Due to budget cuts in the farming industry, all executive and IT duties are temporarily going to be handled by Old McDonald.
Okay.
He's now the chief interim executive and information officer. So chief interim executive and information officer, or as we like to call him, the CIEIO.
I knew that one. I saw that one coming a mile away.
It was. There's another long one. Like I didn't practice the other one, so I got another one. But what's the favorite food for someone with a feet fetish?
I don't know.
Tomatoes.
That's actually pretty. I like that one. Thank you, Jen. Just a reminder, here was Kash Patel, I think, in April. I'll load very fast. I think this is in April.
Children, and the murder rates are plummeting. We are now able to report that the murder rate is on track to be the lowest in U.S. history, in modern recorded U.S. history, thanks to this team behind me and President Trump's priorities.
There we go. Just a reminder, the Kash Patel just a month ago, was 2 months ago, was bragging about how safe America was. Here's Tom Tillis, Republican Tom Tillis, one of the highest ranking Republicans. He was on Takeout with Major Garrett. This show is literally my fucking nightmare. I can't stand hearing people eat, and they talk politics. So it's like two old white dudes talking politics while eating. Historically, old people aren't great at breathing through their nose either. So this is horrendous to watch. So I'm not going to make you watch all of it. But here's Tom Tillis talking about even just like the regular Republican view of like, what's Trump's plan here?
D.C. has a crime problem. The D.C. leadership has allowed the crime problem to get worse. They should be held accountable to that. But where do we stop? Do we honestly think that D.C. has the worst crime problem in the United States?
I do want to point out the first part of that is not true. It didn't get worse. It got better. So D.C. has a crime problem. It is on the leadership of D.C. to fix their crime problem. But it's so weird to me to have people say this. Like, I imagine he's saying this for like his Republican base. I don't know why they can't just be honest. D.C. has a crime problem. It is the leadership's responsibility. That's why you get put into elected office. It's your job to fix these problems, but it's not getting worse. So you could just say like D.C. has a crime problem and it's their job to fix it. And you could have left it at that. I don't know why you added in the lie that it's also getting worse. That's a weird part of it.
Do we honestly think that D.C. has the worst crime problem in the United States? No, it's got a crime problem. But where do we go from here? Do we go to Gary, Indiana, Detroit, pick some red state, go to Memphis, a red state, it's got a crime problem. Where do we go? As a limited government conservative who believes that states and local governments are the best equipped to deal with it, maybe we should be putting public pressure on them. But I don't know if we should be deploying people who want to serve in the National Guard and, if necessary, answer to the call to defend this country, to go in and deal with policy failures of the D.C. City Council.
Yeah, isn't that weird when me and like a moderate Republican sound the same? I guess he must be getting his talking points from MSNBC too. It's just what like normal people think. Get out of politics. If we were to go on the street this weekend and just ask people, like, if we could pull people aside and say, like, are you political? If they said no, and then we told them what was going on in D.C., do you think any of them would side with you? Do you think if anybody was presented the facts as they are without being political and without like this knee-jerk reaction to defend Donald Trump, do you think a single one of them would be like, yeah? If we just told the truth, if we said, look, crime in D.C. is a problem, and it's been a problem for a lot of years. And 2 years ago, the violent crime rate went down 36%. It went down 20% now, but we still have violent crime there. DC police has made some changes, and they're trying to fix this problem. And then we say, so what we're doing to fix it is Donald Trump is going to send in the National Guard for 30 days. He's going to send in the National Guard for 30 days, and he's just going to patrol the streets. Do you think that was necessary? I don't think people are going to say yes. I think a regular person's going to go, no, it sounds like they were making progress. Why would you change in the middle, like in the middle of your progress? Why would you radically change? What other aspect of your life would you change that? Let's say you're investing. In 1 year, you're up 36%, and the next year, you're up 20%, and you're following the same strategy. Would you just blow that up? You're just like, yeah, fuck it. I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm going to go all in. There's not really any other scenario where you would look at the progress. And if you look at DC like over 30 years, the line's just going like this. Why would you change that suddenly without communicating with law enforcement, without communicating with local leaders? Remember, these local leaders in DC, like they've been working with these communities trying to make them safer. So all these communities that have been working together, like now they're just like, oh, I guess Donald must fucking know everything. How do you think they feel right now with Donald Trump, who doesn't live there? He's never lived in a bad neighborhood. He's been a silver spoon bitch baby his whole life. How do you think they feel right now? Do you think they feel represented? Do you think that they feel like that work is valued? Probably not. I don't think anybody would agree to do it this way unless you are just like programmed to defend Donald Trump for everything he does. But you know who does care? We'll move away from DC now. We're going to talk about the economy. This is Lee Zeldon. Now, Lee Zeldon is just a big oil guy. He just makes all his money from big oil, and he doesn't give a like. He just wants to remove anything standing in the way from big oil. And I'm making this prediction. I do think Democrats are going to do well in the midterms. I think that's why Republicans are so desperate right now to change things. And the reason that I think Democrats are going to do well is not because I think they are have a lot of good solutions. I hope we get some new people. But I think the reason they're going to do well is because when Republicans go out to explain what's going on and explain what they're doing, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Joe Biden had this problem. Kamala Harris had this problem where we had massive inflation and prices went up. And even though inflation had come back down to 3%, it's not like people saw their prices necessarily drop, right? Because inflation is like month over month. So if it rises 7% one month and 3% the next month, you're not necessarily seeing the price come down, right? In some instances, prices went up and down, but you're still feeling that inflation. And if your wages haven't kept up with that, you're going to feel that. So Joe Biden had this messaging problem, and Democrats had a messaging problem where they were like, hey, things are getting better. But the American people were like, it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it. So it feels like you're being dishonest to us. Whether that's right or wrong, like that message has been spoken by enough people at this point that like I think we can credibly say like that was probably the number one thing that that caused people to either not show up for Kamala or to like try Trump instead. I think that's probably, if you look at exit polling that I've viewed, that's mostly what it was. Republicans are going to have this same problem because prices are getting more expensive. They're telling you that tariffs are bringing back American manufacturing, but if you don't have a manufacturing job, or you're looking for a manufacturing job and you can't find one, or you lose your job, or your bills are more expensive, what the fuck do you care? They can get away with it now, but they're starting to not get away with it. And there's no end in sight to this. Just so I've said this yesterday, and we're gonna keep harping on it. And the platform is open. If we've got an economist here or somebody who thinks they have a good grip on tariffs, I would love for you to explain differently. But the path forward is bleak. The path forward of tariffs is that in order for this to keep working, or to keep our government afloat, because it's kind of not working, in order for it to work, you're going to need a lot of Americans to have more money. Because they're going to pay higher prices, at least until American manufacturing gets back, in which case they're probably still going to pay higher prices. But this solution that you guys think that Donald Trump is pitching you, just remember that something being manufactured in America doesn't help you very much. It only helps you have like more pride that it was made in America. I don't remember what the product was. I saw this the other day. I wish I could remember what it was. Some sort of like tabletop appliance, if I remember right. And this company decided, let's just say it's like a toaster oven. I think that might have been what it was, but I can't remember for sure. So they decided to make this toaster oven, and it was sourced, I believe, from Vietnam, and it cost them $199 to produce it from Vietnam. It cost them $350 to produce it in America, and so they put both up on different websites. You got an American version and one from Vietnam. They sold the same amount from Vietnam that they had been selling. Their sales stayed about the same. Do you know how many they sold from the American-made product that was more expensive? 0. So what does that tell you? If you have the choice to buy American or buy foreign, if they're the same price, people will choose American. But if they are not the same price, especially in this economy where 70% now of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, who the fuck is going to choose to pay double the money to buy American made? Only like rich Republicans who can stand on principle. That's it. I've seen nothing from this administration that tells me that U.S. manufacturing will drive prices down. In fact, everybody from this administration seems to claim that prices will be more expensive when things are made in America. And in order to get those things to be made in America, we're going to tax Americans, the American middle class more. The cost of your goods is going to go up more. And wages, there's nothing in the big, beautiful bill that says we are going to do anything about wages. Like, we're not going to guarantee wages. Meanwhile, corporations like Walmart are cutting, and they're going to cut employees, and they're going to raise prices. So they're tightening their belt. The whole country is tightening their belt at the same time that you're driving up prices and you're doing nothing for wages because these corporations aren't incentivized to pay people more. So there's nothing in the big, beautiful bill that will get people to make more money, which you need. If you're going to raise prices, you need people to make more money. So somebody's got to be able to explain this plan to me long term of how tariffs work. I understand generically, and this is how Republicans have presented it, that generically, if you raise tariffs on goods produced from out of this country, then eventually people will make them in this country because they will be less expensive. That's their argument. Is that you have to? That's why you put a tariff on it. You have to make the American good cheaper. That's why we have 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, BYD specifically. Because if you bring in a BYD here, I think it's like $18,000. And that's going to go up against a Tesla Model 3, which is $30,000, $40,000. I don't know what I think GM and Ford, they offer like a base at like $25,000 for an electric vehicle. So that's why you do tariffs, right? Because it's cheaper for me to buy a Tesla or a GM or a Ford than it is to buy a BYD because there's 100% tariff, right? I don't see an end to this. Nobody's been able to explain an end to this. How long are we willing to pay tariffs? How long are we willing to watch our prices rise? And if you don't think prices are going to rise, can you explain it to me? Maybe I'm just that dumb. But explain to me how increased tariffs aren't going to keep prices rising. That's what Trump said. He said there will be some short-term pain. That's what Besant said. That's what Lutnick said. There will be short-term pain. We didn't understand it at the time because there's nothing short-term about reshoring American manufacturing. That's going to take years. They are severely underestimating, I think, the American worker and how close most Americans are to not being able to pay their bills. I've had multiple people reach out, and by the way, you don't have to say this, but I've had more than one person reach out who historically has been like gifted for this program and said, "Look, things have just changed for me. I love what you're doing. Just know, like, I'm still supporting you, but I can't afford to gift or to subscribe, and that's fine." But like, we're talking about a few dollars a day. People are having to tighten that much. That's the reality for most of you. Almost everybody here, that's your reality. Some of you it's not, but most of us, that's our reality. We have to decide. We're picking and choosing what we can and cannot buy now, and maybe that's good for like fiscal responsibility. But is it helping the American economy? No. I think this is a real fucking problem for Republicans, and you're going to see it here. This is Lee Zeldon. Again, he's the EPA administrator. Listen to him try and tell this crowd. Listen to him brag about what he's doing and what this administration is doing for you. And you tell me if this resonates. And you tell me if the average American, MAGA specifically, you tell me if the average American gives a flying fuck about what Lee, or if they can even explain what he's saying.
Deratement. So we made that announcement on behalf of Georgia and Iowa and across this country to reverse the death derangement. We're getting your water to flow more. We're getting your gas cans to flow faster. We're going to stop those annoying start-stop features on your car. We hear from the American public about what matters to you. And
is that what matters to you, the American public? Your water is flowing harder. The gas is flowing faster into your tank. And that annoying stop, start feature, which I think he's talking about, like the A with the circle. I don't even know what it stands for, but when you're sitting there at a stoplight and your car turns off to save gas. Do you really think Do you really fucking think this works for the American people? You know why that feature's there? To save money on gas. You think the American people are saying, hey, daddy, I'm tired of my car saving fuel. I fucking hate fuel economy. I goddamn hate it when I don't drive by a gas station and have to fill up. He's telling you, we're going to make the water come out of your faucet faster. Oh, really? So it'll cost you more? So your water bill will go up? We're going to have the gas come out faster. I don't know who the fuck that helps. I guess, like, I don't even know if they're doing this. I don't even know what he means by that. I don't know if the Trump administration has something with gas pumps where, like, it'll be quicker to fill up your car. Like, it's coming out. I have no idea. And then he's like, and we're going to, you know, that pesky fuel efficiency stuff that saves you money with your car? We're going to undo that so you can pay more. By the way, you can just, you can bypass it on any car. You just hit that button, it turns it off. You think this shit's going to work for the American people when they're struggling paycheck to paycheck? This is the problem you Republicans have right now. You have nothing that you can point to that the average American can go, yep, that's working for me. Yep, that works. You have the cruelty directed at immigrants. You have cheating in elections. And you have a massive use of force when American crime is at historic lows. Sorry. I don't think it's enough, and I think that's why your people are cheating. I think that's why you guys are trying to rig elections. That's why. Because we're doing authoritarianism. I don't know how many more times I have to say this to you, MAGA. I hope at some point you recognize they don't give a fuck about you. They're not doing a goddamn thing for you. They're not doing a goddamn thing for the American middle class. They're not doing a goddamn thing for red states. All they're doing is punishing Democrats. And that's enough for you right now, and I respect that. Meaning I respect that your opinion. It's a stupid fucking thing to care about. But when things start tightening, you're not going to give a whole lot of cares about Donald Trump being like, look what I did to a blue state. You're going to worry about paying your water bill, your electric bill, your gas bill. All this shit that's coming down the road, and it's coming. I've got some clips here of Jerome Powell. It's on its way. Things are going to tighten up. It's a fucking problem for you. And I don't give a goddamn if Republicans win the next election or Democrats win the next election. I could give a fuck. I just want politicians that are actually doing something for people. This administration is not doing a fucking thing. We're painting a wall. We're worried about the Smithsonian teaching about slavery. We're removing people out of our military. What the fuck, guys? Like, what all these promises? You all thought that this was the big lie. Donald Trump told you, remember when I was president and things were cheaper? And you were like, yeah. He's like, it'll be back, baby. Bring me back. Your prices are going to go back down. And you all went, yeah. And then it didn't happen. And we all told you it's not going to happen. Prices never go back down. Every president had the lowest gas prices. Every president had the highest stock market. Every president had every record Trump talks about, Biden beat it. And every record Trump had, he took from Obama. And every record Obama had, he took from Bush. This is how this shit works. He sold you on this like, remember pre-COVID? It was better because of me. No, it was better because COVID happened and it fucked everything up. And so you believed him when he told you that I'm going to lower gas prices and I'm going to lower housing prices and I'm going to lower grocery prices. And none of those prices have come down. So how much longer do you think, MAGA, this is rhetorical, how much longer do you have? How much longer can you wait for that relief that he promised you? How much longer are you willing to overlook that you're not getting any relief just to own the libs? There's an expiration date on you guys caring about owning the libs. And the problem that the main problem that you have is that you don't have anybody in your party that can stand up to him. Tom Tillis is going to get destroyed on Twitter. Trump's probably going to say some mean shit about Tom Tillis because Tom Tillis is like, can we do something for the people? And Trump's like, no, we're doing this for me. Here's what I was talking about with Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell was at the rich people meeting at Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And while you have Trump and Lutnick and the dipshits in this administration screaming to lower rates, every economist in the world is telling Jerome Powell, don't change the rates. Don't fuck us further. Like, Trump's trying to fuck us, don't fuck us further. And Trump is desperately trying to get this man fired and everybody that works for him fired, because it's the only way that Trump is going to be able to ease things for you through the midterms. It's the only Band-Aid he has left. And it won't fix it. It'll exacerbate the problem, but that problem will be J.D. Vance's or whoever runs for president in 2028 and wins. Whether it's J.D. Vance or Gavin Newsom or Pete Buttigieg, Trump doesn't give a fuck. It's not his problem. He just needs to win the midterms. So he wants to ignore math and force this guy to lower rates. But here's Jerome Powell giving a pretty bleak outlook for where we're headed. And by the way, there's no political game here. If Jerome Powell wanted to keep his job, right? If this is a guy who was doing things politically, if he wanted to keep his job, he would do what Trump said. But he's unwilling to do that. He's just appointed by Trump. He's going to be trying to be replaced by Trump because he won't lie for Trump. Trump needs people to lie for him. And Jerome Powell's going to give you a pretty bleak look into what the numbers they're looking at.
The labor market appears to be in balance. It is a curious kind of balance that results from a marked slowing in both the supply of and demand for workers. This unusual situation suggests that downside risks to employment are rising. And if those risks materialize, they can do so.
Understanding what he said there, we're losing workers and demand for workers at almost identical rates. What does that mean? It means that businesses are closing. Usually, right? Usually you don't see that. Like if we had a mass deportation, it's not the same way. We're removing workers and businesses are closing. That's bleak. This double negative doesn't happen very often.
Quickly in the form of sharply higher layoffs and rising unemployment. At the same time, GDP growth has slowed notably in the first half of this year to a pace of 1.2%, roughly half the 2.5% pace in 2024.
So if we stay on pace, who knows, maybe Q3, Q4, maybe Trump has something up his sleeve. But if we stay on this pace, GDP growth is half of what we had last year. By the way, I just want to point out, we gave a tax cut. People are making less money. Businesses are closing. That means our tax revenue is also going to be lower. So our tax revenue, the amount that we're being able to tax is going to go down, and our spending is going way up. This is going to explode our debt even more.
The decline in growth has largely reflected a slowdown in consumer spending. As with the labor market, some of the slowing in GDP likely reflects slower growth of supply or potential output. Turning to inflation, higher tariffs have begun to push up prices in some categories of goods. Estimates based on the latest available data indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.6% over the 12 months ending in July. Excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.9%.
That is the top end of what we view as acceptable. 2 to 3% is what economists view as acceptable, and we're rising. Any more rise, we're no longer in acceptable window. We're already almost not there. Any more rise is going to cause this. And what he's saying here is this is being caused by tariffs. And we're not changing our policy on tariffs. So why would you guys now expect for prices to come down?
Above their level of a year ago. Within core, prices of goods increased 1.1% over the past 12 months, a notable shift from the modest decline seen over the course of 2024. In contrast, housing services inflation remains on a downward trend, and non-housing services inflation is still running at a level a bit above what has been historically consistent with a 2% inflation. The effects of tariffs on consumer prices are now clearly visible. We expect those effects to accumulate over coming months with high uncertainty about both timing and amounts. The question that matters for monetary policy is whether these price increases are likely to materially raise the risk of an ongoing inflation problem. A reasonable base case is that the effects will be relatively short-lived, a one-time shift in the price level. Of course, one time does not mean all at once. It will continue to take time for tariff increases to work their way through supply chains and distribution networks. Moreover, tariff rates.
So in order for tariffs, like these price changes in tariffs, in order for this not to hurt, we have to see income rise with tariffs. And the reason that he's concerned, and the reason that many economists are concerned, is we're not seeing income rising. The tariffs are causing the job creators to tighten their belts. It's not creating extra revenue where job creators feel like we're gonna pay our employees more. This is the problem that we have, and that's why he's saying like businesses are closing because businesses are being hurt financially. Muted, fuck you. Businesses are being hurt financially, so they're closing, so they can't pay more. That's why this is scary. That's why it wasn't well thought out. That's why no economist has said this is a good idea. There's nobody outside of Donald Trump that thinks this is a good idea, and then some of you guys. Danielle said, please no more white men for POTUS. We need a woman POTUS. Tanya, I got that one. Said, have a good weekend, Jen and Jay. 6 cents, thank you for joining the Dollar Train. Solely said, because Jen said so. Marianne, thank you very much. I have a couple more here. Jackie said, love you. Christina said, keep calling Trump fucks little bitches. Stay frosty. Thank you. James said, good show, bud. Brittany said, I read that one. They keep people in prison for slave labor. Yeah.
Rates continue to evolve, potentially prolonging the adjustment process.
Okay. That is bleak. That is a bleak look into the future. We're saying prices will rise. We don't know how long this rise will take, but it's being coupled with business closures. We're not creating new jobs. GDP growth is stunted. Job growth is stunted. Wages are stunted. And it seems like when all of these things are going bad, we're also seeing prices increase due to inflation. A lot of this inflation, too, like a lot of these price increases are so haphazard, they don't need to happen. We have tariffs on products that we can't make at home. Why in the world are we tariffing products that we will not be able to replace? We can't reshore those jobs. Why charge Americans more for things that we can't grow here or make here? Why? Because this is it's a lazy administration. They think that the threat of tariffs is going to work, but every one of these countries is just going to the BRICS nations and saying, "Hey, can we trade with you instead? Let's just let America burn." Trump's bluff is being called, and Trump, like that's where we're at. We're at this point where Donald Trump has to outlast all of these other countries. And maybe he pulls off a miracle. Maybe he does. But it's a real fucking Hail Mary. You guys are banking on a real fucking Hail Mary that for some reason these other countries are going to capitulate and like start eating somehow the cost of the tariff on their own, or start lowering prices. I don't know. Like why would they? If they can find other trading partners, then they won't lower it. We have to hope that places like Brazil and Venezuela and Colombia, we're going to have to hope that all these countries that we rely on trade for can't find new trade partners. And if they can, we're fucked. And there's a lot of people who are there's a lot of countries out there who are willing to take a loss to fuck us over, namely China, namely Russia. And you're forcing these countries to make a really weird decision too. Historically, they may not have been aligned with Russia or China, but they're looking at Russia and China and they're going like, well, at least they're playing fair. Like, do we really need to be loyal to America? Like, if America's not going to do fair trade practices here, then I guess we go with China. They're more than happy to take some losses in the short term. Sometimes not taking a loss. That's what we're banking on, MAGA. That is your only path forward, is that Trump outlasts all these people and they can't find trading partners. And you're going to start to see that. You're going to start to see, and Trump's already doing it. I'll get to it hopefully at some point today. Probably not. Maybe on Monday. That's what he's going to do in Venezuela now. He's going to start using military force to threaten people to trade with us and not others. Now we're getting into the bad America, where when we don't get our way, we use our military. Now, ironically, the let's take care of people at home crowd. We just sent, I think, we just sent a fleet of ships down to Venezuela. We're now patrolling those waters. We're now provoking them. Venezuela's arming up themselves, and they're saying, "I dare you, come attack." I guess we're threatening Venezuela as we speak. The no new wars guy is just out openly threatening other countries because we need their trade, and they're not playing by the rules that Trump wants them to play by. Tim, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. Let me update this real quick. I'll play an ad for you. Let's do. Where is this one? This one again. Like, nobody's as soft as a conservative. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Those conservative men are soft as shit. That's why every time you go to a conservative podcast, it's like, and now to our sponsor, Blue Chew. Your dick can work again. You don't have to scream at women when your dick doesn't work. This'll fix it. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, why would anybody play by the rules? They don't. Why would these other countries just capitulate to Donald Trump? By the way, they also are probably looking at this as like they just have to wait him out. If they recognize what's happening in America, they recognize that like nobody else has this power like Donald Trump. So they just have to wait till he's either out of office or he dies. And maybe they're willing to wait that amount of time. That's why Venezuelan came here under his first term, destabilization. Exactly. Yeah, he staged a coup in Venezuela the first time, too. He just he cripples their economy, and he threatens them. It's sick. It's honestly like, why can't we just do things honestly in this country? You guys would rather us treat every other country like shit just so Donald Trump can be right? Here is... back to that. Sorry again. This is a second clip from Takeout with Tom Tillis. So I apologize. Here's Tom Tillis. Same thing. Now Tom Tillis is recognizing what we said yesterday. Ironically, you had Stephen Miller earlier today talking about how we had to get rid of the communists. Tom Tillis is having the same problem we're having, where we're looking at what Trump's doing and we're like, hey, isn't Trump doing exactly what the communists did? Isn't he doing exactly what happened in Russia? It doesn't seem very different. It seems like Donald Trump has become the communist. But by pointing, and because Republicans don't know what communism is or what the communists did, the very thing that they're critical of communists for, because you guys don't know what they did, you don't recognize when Trump is copying the playbook. He's doing the authoritarian thing that you guys blame on communism. And now he's like consolidating control over industry, private industry. All you free market capitalists, you're going to love this.
Talking about taking a 10% stake of Intel. It has negotiated a U.S. Steel merger, and the president retains what he calls a golden share to make decisions about that. There have been relationships forged with Apple and other companies that come to the White House, do certain specific things for the president, and in exchange, the president extracts something that the federal government gets, putting the federal government in lots of boardrooms it hasn't been in before.
And by the way, he tells you it's for you. He gets up there and he brags, and you guys are going to brag. You're like, what about all these investments that people have pledged to the United States? Doesn't help you. That could just invest in stock. And those investments are just like promises. They don't even have to deliver on them. They just know they have to outlast Trump. But just so we're clear, what Trump is doing is he is telling these companies, if you want special favors from me, i.e., removing trade barriers, making you guys exempt from tariffs, you have to give the country part of your business. Is that free market capitalism? Is that the free market capitalism you guys love? Or is that like actual socialism? That's literally what China does. It's literally what happened in Russia. Now, Russia, the difference between China and Russia is that, say whatever you want about Xi Jinping, who's not a great leader, not a great person, he does distribute that. They do take the ownership in those companies and they redistribute it to the people of China. They use it to pay for education. They use it to pay for infrastructure. They do redistribute it. And I don't know what their bank accounts look like. I'm sure that there's government officials in China that are lining their pockets too. In Russia, they just take that money and they distribute it amongst like 20 people. And then fucking everybody in Russia is poor. Everybody I know from Russia, which is not a lot, but I talked to somebody who, like, she played golf at Arizona State. You could look her up probably. She's the best golfer ever out of Russia because there's like 8 golf courses in Russia. I think she said when she was there was like 8 to 12 golf courses in the whole thing. So she's like one of the best golfers ever to come from Russia. She went to Northern Arizona, then to Arizona State. And she was telling me that, like, life in Russia, I said, why you're here now? Like, you're at school. Do you want to stay here? She got married. I think they're divorced. She married a hockey player. I don't think they're married anymore. But I asked her, like, why, like, would she ever go back to Russia? And she's like, no. I said, why wouldn't you go back to Russia? And she said, there's just nothing there. There's nothing there for you. You just work your whole life, and you're just poor your whole life. You have enough because Russia gives you, like, the basics. You do have health care, but you don't own your home. You can't pass that wealth along. You just work until you die, basically, in Russia, or until you can't work. And you never make enough money to be really rich unless you're, like, from one of these oligarch families. And that's where we're headed here. I don't know why you guys don't see this. Trump is handing out all of the government contracts to his friends. And some of those government contracts are things like Palantir, where he's creating a police state and a surveillance state. And he's putting troops on the ground now. And he's reshoring American manufacturing jobs. Those are blue-collar jobs. Those are jobs that will not give you the future that you think they're going to give you, because they don't come with revenue sharing. They don't come with you getting ownership. In fact, it's the exact opposite. The government is getting the ownership out of these companies. He is leveraging his power as president of the United States to take ownership, public ownership of a private company, and he is saying openly, we will have discretion. All these pledges that he's getting from other countries of investment, if you take Scott Bessent at his word, Scott Bessent said that's basically just going to create a slush fund, and the president will get to choose where that money goes. If Donald Trump is successful in this next election, in the primaries, of winning a majority, they will go and they will strip out all the voting rights acts, and they will make it impossible for Democrats to ever win again. And some of you are like, cool. And I just want you to know that the cool that you're celebrating is that you will now live under a fake democracy, authoritarian control. And at some point, if you happen to be successful, if you happen to get really rich, our government's going to come to you and they're going to say, hey, bitch, give me some of your company, or else. And if you say no, they're just going to take it from you, because that's what happens in Russia. They just take it. Bye-bye free market. How can you explain to me, Republicans, why Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, Elon Musk, all of these people who have pumped millions and hundreds of millions of dollars into this administration, buying themselves a VP in J.D. Vance, why the fuck would all of these billionaires who have a stated goal to end democracy, why would they give Trump money? Why? Why in the world are they funding this? Why is Trump giving their companies handouts? You think they want more democracy? Peter Thiel, go look it up. Peter Thiel says if you start a business that isn't a monopoly, you're a fuck. I don't want anything to do with that. You should want monopoly. You should want monopoly of force. You should want monopoly of power. Democracy has run its course. Democracy is flawed. We should have autocracy. It should be the elites that make the decision. I'm tired of regular people having a say in what happens in this government. It should be us, the smarts, the elites. We should be the ones making decisions. And there's 2 ways you can do that. You can either create your own country, which they tried, they've been trying to do, and you can go find the clips of him saying this. He said there's 2 ways to do it. You can either start your own country, which is impossible, or you can fundamentally change the democracy that you're in, or the country that you're in, to shift control. So this is what we have now. This is the bargain. This is the deal with the devil that Trump made. Trump told all these billionaire tech bros, hey, get me elected and we're in this together. And you can blah, blah, blah it. But what none of you will do or can do is come up and debate this. You're not getting any benefit here. Here's Tom Tillis. Keep going.
Yeah. Now, Biden did that too with the Inflation Reduction Act and some other things. I'm not suggesting he didn't. How comfortable or uncomfortable are you with this?
The fact that Biden did it too should be your first indication that I would be uncomfortable with it. My gosh, I remember when the U.S. Steel acquisition was going through and we heard about the golden share. It reminded me of a chapter from Atlas Shrugged about Reardon Steel and the U.S. government getting involved in the management of that steel. Look, I don't care if it's $1 or $1 billion.
First of all, these guys, what's weird about Republicans, I can say this from my personal experience, the amount of business meetings and Republican meetings I went in where we talked about Atlas Shrugged, it was like every fucking one. That is the Republican Bible. It's wild. It is a piece of fiction, and they base their lives on it.
Stake and an American country, that starts feeling like a semi-state-owned enterprise a la CCCP. I don't believe that the U.S. government should be picking winners and losers, because you won't always be right.
Export licenses?
With U.S. taxpayer dollars. Let the American businesses, let retirees and other people decide how much of their portfolio should be in tech stocks, for example. But look, that's where you can't run the government like a business. Does anybody in their right mind think that if you have, I don't know what the stake is going to be in Intel, but does anybody really believe that any opinion except the opinion of the administration is really going to matter in boardroom discussions going forward? How much objectivity can they have when the richest, most resource entity on the face of the planet and in the history of the world has a stake in your future? You can't be a free market. This is why, if there's anything I do like saying I told you so, and for so many of my self-described true conservatives, you're going to have to explain to me how this reconciles with true conservatism and true free market capitalism.
We got bitches talking about the zombie apocalypse. Here's the clip. I forget that you guys haven't all watched. Here's Peter Thiel talking about his views on liberalism. By the way, it doesn't mean that what you guys, he's not talking about it like liberals, Democrats. He's talking about like liberal democracies, progressive democracies, and democracy in general.
I don't think we're ever in a cyclical world, but there are certainly certain parallels in the U.S. in the 2020s to Germany in the 1920s, where liberalism is exhausted. One suspects that democracy, whatever that means, is exhausted, and we have to ask some questions very far outside the Overton window.
He's talking about comparing where we're at now to Germany. Liberalism's exhausted, democracy's exhausted. Now we've got to go outside of that. We're going to have to come up with solutions outside of democracy to fix this. It's literally Nazi ideology. That's actually what the Nazis did. They said liberalism and democracy has been exhausted. And what did they do? What was their solution, folks? Get the churches, the businesses, and the executive all on one page. Consolidate that power. Where is the power in America? Let's be honest. The government, the rich, and the religions. So if you can get the churches, the corporations, and the president all on the same page, you now have a new solution outside of liberalism and democracy. It's exhausted, he said. And this isn't something that he's saying, like, this isn't him looking at the landscape and going, this is what I see. This is him explaining his plan. This is him saying, like, we have to get outside of this. Like, we're in the same place that Germany was. The irony is that what all of these folks think, that what Peter Thiel thinks, is that what Germany did wrong was that they expanded too quickly, and then of course the genocide. But he actually agrees with Nazi ideology. He actually agrees with the first the public direction that Hitler said, like, we want to go in. He views us in that same area where, sorry, we've got to fix this, and it's going to take us to do that. Explain to me why these people are the ones that are funding Trump. And then try and give me another reason why Trump is doing what he's doing. Why wouldn't Trump care that he's destroying American businesses? Why would he be sending in the military to these liberal towns? Why is he so why is he so hell-bent on silencing opposing voices? You can say whatever the fuck you want about Joe Biden and our government historically silencing voices. It's never been like this. We've never sued people because they wouldn't call something a certain word. Like, has the government ever sued somebody for like calling Mount Rushmore the face mountains? Like, Trump sued, was it the USA Today? Who did he sue? Because they wouldn't say Gulf of America? Like, he's threatening them, and it's not just the pettiness. I think early on when it happened, at least my takeaway was, this is petty, this is Trump, he's a child. No, it's a threat. It sets a baseline. Right? If Trump starts going after journalists for calling him names, or for saying that he was convicted of grape, or he was held liable for grape, that's going to make it so people don't want to talk about that anymore, because they don't have the strength to go up against the United States government. We're seeing this. We see people capitulate to him all the time. It's this strong arming of the American people. And I get it for you that voted for him, because your ideology and every pep rally he ever held, every time he ever opens his mouth, all he ever talks about is how bad Democrats are and how they're ruining the country. And he said it for like 10 straight years. So that's just like beat into your brains. So you don't care. You actually view all of this as an attack on lawlessness. You actually think the laws are being broken and Trump is actually going to fix it. No, that's not what he's fixing. He's fixing and he's silencing an ideology that you don't like. No other president in U.S. history has done that. I don't like Christianity. If I was president, I wouldn't silence you. Okay? I wouldn't say that your kids can't wear crosses at church. I wouldn't shut down your ability to celebrate Christmas. Fox News has been telling you forever that you can't say Merry Christmas. Everybody's always been able to say Merry Christmas, always. There is no war on Christmas, but they just keep you in this perpetual cycle of victimhood, and Trump's just the guy that took advantage of it. And I think that we have a lot of bad actors who saw what Trump had, and they saw you guys, his base, who literally don't give a fuck what he does. They said, this is our opportunity. They'll never see it coming. And even when it does happen to them, most of them are going to be too prideful to ever admit that this is actually what happened to them. JD Vance is out campaigning now, because obviously he's running for president. This is you guys want to talk about worthless VPs? God, how much did we have to hear about Kamala wasn't doing anything? What the fuck has JD Vance done since he's been on 6 vacations, and now he goes out and campaigns, and now he's at a rally talking about protecting American manufacturing, as we're bleeding manufacturing jobs. We're going to do an event called Protect American Manufacturing. Here's what JD Vance had to say yesterday. Actually, we'll get. It is a new subject. JD Vance now is on the campaign trail defending the One Big Beautiful Bill, lying to the American people as per usual that the One Big Beautiful Bill doesn't cut funding for people who are on Medicare or Medicaid unless they shouldn't be on it, which is an absolute lie. The numbers don't add up. The amount that they're cutting from Medicare and Medicaid, it will take people off of Medicare and Medicaid who have every right to have that. What's up, Jen?
Okay. Just wanted to remind everybody that it is Friendly Friday, and we've got a ways away with that. Dropping things. With that gift goal. So before we can get to Friendly Friday, we need to do a little bit more of a dent in that. So I don't know how much you're planning on covering, but just wanted to remind everybody. So Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats to help knock out more of that.
Okay. Brianna said, a status on the slutty calendar of you. I brought this up, I think, last Friday. It's my bad. I honestly forgot about the calendar. And then it's hot as shit. And so I'm probably going to have to take all the pictures this fall. And so we'll release the calendar in January. But I do promise to have you guys a calendar in January. And it's not going to be slutty. And also, Bree got really busy. And she was the one that was supposed to come up with all the ideas. So we'll talk to Bree offline. Darnell said for the gift goal. Jen, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. And Jackie says, love you. I'll update that number. Jen, do you have a joke while I update that? Or are you out of jokes? Jen?
No, I got more jokes.
All right, hit us with a joke.
Let's see. So last night, I felt like running naked down the street.
Okay.
Fortunately, I sprayed myself with the Windex. It stopped streaking.
All right. I regret it already. All right. Here's JD Vance talking about healthcare.
I'm Richard Elliott with WSB TV here in Atlanta. You've heard the criticism from Democrats that making the Trump tax cuts permanent comes at a cost to Medicare, SNAP benefits, and other things like that. How would you answer some of those criticisms by the Democrats?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that question. Look, there are a couple of responses to that criticism. First of all, the only people that we say should not get free government health care benefits are illegal aliens and those who refuse to try to even look for a job. It's very common sense. We want, and look,
I'm so tired of this. Like, why do you guys let them just lie to you every fucking day? No, it's not. Do the numbers. Do the math. You can't cut the amount. Like, there's no evidence that there is waste, fraud, and abuse enough to make the cuts that they're cutting. There's no evidence of that. Every Republican governor, every Republican senator, they're all saying the same thing. That people who are on Medicaid, who have jobs, or who have a qualifying reason to not be on Medicaid, that they're losing Medicare and Medicaid. This is just absolutely true. And they can stand up here again. This works. This only works for now. This only works for a short time. Eventually, reality is gonna set in. I'm gonna show you in a minute, like some of the realities that are already set in. This is why they've got a problem in the midterms, and so they're, instead of fixing any of this, instead of admitting that they fucked up, they're just gonna go out and hope that this line works all the way through the midterms. And for everybody who's mad at me, all you MAGA that are here that are mad at me, once again, it's Friday. We've done this Monday through Friday. Every last one of you is welcome to come up here and have a conversation with me. If I'm wrong, explain it to me. I don't want to be wrong. I hate being wrong. Drives me nuts. The handful of times that I've had to correct something on this show, I fucking hate it. I am prideful, but I do correct it. So just fix it for me. If I'm wrong about this, show me the numbers. But you're just saying I'm wrong because you don't like what I'm saying. You're welcome to come up. You're welcome to present the numbers. But if all you're doing is sitting in the comments crying without any data, without giving us a story, then, like, of course nobody's going to listen to you. What's up, Jen?
Okay, I think we missed some Venmos.
Oh, yeah, let me... Oh, I did miss those. Chelsea said, just a gentle reminder to plug in locally. Know who your state and federal reps are, and when they are up for re-election. Moms for Liberty is in my county in a blue state. We have power in our voice and vote. Keep the hope and keep resisting. Peter, thank you for joining the Dollar Train. Sandra, thank you as well. Did I miss any other ones? Oh, see, Samantha said Dem cities offer better resources to unhoused people, which is why they are there. I missed all of these. Pink said, what do you call cheese that isn't yours? Somebody else's cheese. God, I think I missed every one of these. Alexandria said, happy Friday, no notes. I think that was the last one I read. Did I miss any other ones?
I think that's Maybe Brother Bob's.
Was that from earlier?
Yeah.
think
Happy
so.
Friendly Friday.
Yeah, I think I got that one.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
We are going to bankrupt this country if we keep on giving the people's benefits, the people's Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security benefits to illegal aliens who have no legal right to be in this country and never paid into the system to begin with. That is never the design of those programs, is to give them to every person all over the world. They ought by right to belong to the American citizens who paid into those programs to begin with. And that's what we're fighting.
There's the Republican strategy all over again. Set up a straw man position that nobody holds, that is not reality, that is not even loosely based on reality. JD Vance, in order for him to sound sane, he says, we have to fix this problem because it was never designed to have every illegal immigrant who doesn't pay into this system get free benefits. That doesn't happen. It's never happened. It isn't by design. Nobody supports that. Nobody advocates for that. None of that has ever fucking happened. But it's the only way for JD Vance to sound right now like he's sane. He has to set up a straw man, which is what all of you guys have to do. And I say it every time. I'm going to point it out every time because I'm waiting for one of these Republican fucksticks to say something that's true. I'm waiting for them to be able to make their point without having to make the other side seem so crazy. I want to know if J.D. Vance actually knows what the fuck we think over here. I want to know if J.D. Vance even is capable of addressing reality. How come every time one of these dumb motherfuckers opens their mouth, they have to lie about what we're saying? You can say whatever you want about me, about our side, whatever. I'm showing you their words in full. I'm showing you their words, and I'm arguing with them. Why can't J.D. Vance do that? How come J.D. Vance can't say the truth here? The truth is, when it came to Medicaid, some states chose to allow some of that funding to go towards people who are here illegally. Very few states, but some. Why can't he say that? Because it doesn't sound good when you say there were a few states who gave a little bit of money to people who were here illegally, and that's why we had to cut funding from Medicare, which is removing or Medicaid, which is taking working people and people who qualify off. And rural hospitals are shutting down. And we did this because there were a handful of states where there was a little bit of money that went towards people who were here illegally. You can't tell the truth that, like, the reason we had to cut from this and the reason that we have an exact number that they directed Republicans to cut is because they needed to pay for a tax cut. He can't stand on stage and say, hey, did you guys ever notice that the money that we cut from Medicaid and Medicare was the exact same amount of money that we were going to lose in revenue from the tax cuts? Did anybody ever notice that? No, they have to lie to you. They have to make up this whole straw man position that really they're doing this because they have to cut. It's going towards illegal immigrants. They cannot tell you the truth, because if they tell you the truth, you're going to realize what complete fucking frauds they are. And it should piss you off. I don't understand why it doesn't. If this was Hakeem Jeffries, I'd hold this same energy. I do have the same energy for Hakeem Jeffries. Fuck Hakeem Jeffries. But I don't know why you guys like being lied to. This is crazy.
To make sure happens. And the second response I'd say to that is look, we did a lot in this legislation. Brian worked on it. The other representatives here worked very hard on this to make sure that a lot of our rural hospitals are struggling because of some of the policies of the Biden administration.
Oh.
So what we did...
What are those policies? Somebody tell me in the chat, because J.D. Vance isn't doing a straw man right now. He's not. What were the policies from the Biden administration that caused rural hospitals to struggle? Somebody tell me. We'll let him play. But I don't think any of you guys know what he's saying either. But you're comfortable with him just saying this. I'll show you the data here in a minute.
We put a lot of resources and a lot of changes in regulations to make it possible for our rural hospitals to stay open despite what the Biden administration did to them for 4 years.
Okay, let's talk about what really happened. What really happened is every Republican senator came back and said, and congressperson said, what the fuck? These rural hospitals rely on Medicare and Medicaid dollars, and if we cut Medicare and Medicaid, they can't function. They will shut down. So what did he do? Did they fix the policy? Did they undo a Joe Biden policy that was bad? Is this story true? Or did they do a $100 billion slush fund to pay them out, to keep them afloat? Did they give them a bailout? They gave them a bailout. And the bailout is only there because of the cuts to Medicaid and Medicare. So these cuts that they made, that they're saying are saving you money, then they took $100 billion of more spending to make sure that Republicans would vote for this. They just slapped another Band-Aid on it. That's all Republicans ever do, is slap Band-Aids on shit so that you guys don't realize that trickle-down economics is a motherfucking scam. And it doesn't fucking work. And that's why it's almost 60% of our debt now, all $37 trillion, almost 60% of that has come at the hands of two presidents, Bush and Trump, the two tax cut presidents. That's where our debt comes from. And they can't tell you that, so they blame Joe Biden. Joe Biden put less debt on our books than Donald Trump. Did you know that? Did you know that Trump put more debt? Trump had one stimulus. Biden had 2 stimulus, and somehow he put less debt on our country than Donald Trump. How'd that work out? How did deficit spending go down under Joe Biden? So what he's talking about right here, well, Joe Biden broke it and we fixed it. No, bitch. You broke it. Your own people got mad at you and you said, oh, we'll just do a $100 billion slush fund. And when that runs out, what do you think happens to these rural hospitals? You'll have to reauthorize the slush fund. You're going to have to reauthorize the bailout. And that will plummet us further into debt rather than just allowing Medicare and Medicaid, which, by the way, that's guaranteed revenue that comes in. That's actual receipts that come in to pay for that. That is taxpayer funds that come in to pay for that. The reason they need to cut that money is they need to steal that money intended for Medicare and Medicaid and pay for other programs in the government because they keep cutting taxes for rich people. And still, we got the MAGA in the chat here. This is for us.
So our policy is very simple. Whether you're in a big city or a small town, we're going to fight for your access to health care.
Yeah, sure.
Whether you're an American citizen who's been here for 70 years or an American citizen who's been here for 2 years, we're going to fight for your access to a government that serves you. But if you're an illegal alien, you do not deserve government-paid health care benefits. You need to get out of our country, and that's as simple as that.
Yeah. It's all words. It's all bullshit. It frustrates me sometimes. I'm gonna be honest. Today, you guys did get on my skin. You got under my skin today because you're like, this guy's just no receipts. First of all, I'm giving you receipts, but they never tell you they never tell you the truth. Let's talk about it. Even with the $100 billion slush fund that they added, which isn't paid for, it's just debt. 330 rural hospitals are now projected to close or make cuts because of this cut to Medicare and Medicaid. That's what's happening to hospitals in this country because of these cuts. That's what's happening. And Mark Schwartz, if Donald Trump ever gives a source for anything and J.D. Vance ever has a source for anything, come back to me. You guys don't care about sources. It's just your way to ignore what I'm saying right now. You don't, because I can give you sources. You can come up here, we can have a discussion. I'll give you a source for every claim that I make. But you wouldn't care about that. Because all you want to do is bitch and whine. You want to complain about me because I'm talking bad about your king. That's it. That's why you're here. You're here with I don't even understand your existence. You show up to be whiny bitches every day. You show up to complain about me every day. What kind of man are you, by the way, Mark? What kind of man sits behind a screen name and bitches at somebody else? What kind of man calls everybody else stupid but's afraid to speak to them? What kind of man is that? I think that's a bitch. I think most of you guys, I think that's why in the middle of the day you're here complaining, because your life fucking sucks. So you come online to bitch about me. And by the way, thanks for the views. I get paid on them, so I appreciate it. But every time when it comes time, like, hey, you want to talk? No, I won't. I would never talk to you. I'll just sit here for 3.5 hours and comment. Because not only are you dishonest, not only are you bitches, but you're also probably dumb. It would take a real fucking moron to watch the show today and be like, oh, I agree with everything Trump's doing. Here's Sherrod Brown, who's running again in Ohio, explaining what's happening to Ohioans. And this message matters because here's the reality for Ohio. Here's the reality for Iowa. There are going to be hundreds of thousands of American citizens who lose their benefits. And when they look up and they look at their bottom line, they may not care anymore that Donald Trump is going after trans people. They might think, you know what? I do think that my life is worth more than caring about trans people. So I may not vote for Donald Trump or Republicans again. Remember, the other part, Trump's not on the ballot. And Republicans, no matter what they want to say, they're about as unpopular as Democrats. Go look at generic Republican polling when you factor out Trump. See how they're doing. They're also in the 30s. They're not popular either. So it's not like they're running around with Trump's approval rating, which is in like the high 30s, low 40s. They're even lower than Trump. They're not far off from Democrats. But when it comes time to vote in Ohio, and you have one Ohioan saying, this is actually really good for you. Donald Trump only cut people that were thrown off or that were here illegally. And then you're going to have like some grandma, like, born and raised. I got thrown off. Or you're going to have somebody that was like a caretaker for their parents that got thrown off Medicaid. They'll be like, not illegal. That's not going to work. You can't lie to people about their reality. 500,000 people in Ohio are going to lose their access to Medicaid. You think those people are going to vote for the people that threw them off? You think that's what's going to happen?
What was the turning point for you in deciding to run?
Well, you can see starting in February, March, April, things got worse. You could see that prices were not coming down, prices were going up. People's electric bills were increasing. And then they pass a bill to give tax cuts to the richest people in the country, drive the deficit up $3 trillion, and throw 490,000 Ohioans off their health care. I mean, think of that, a state of 12 million, 490,000 of them are going to lose their insurance. And especially, I mean, you know this, Lawrence, in rural areas where the hospital is generally the largest employer, people will now have to drive 30 or 40 minutes to get emergency care or to have a baby. And you know, in small towns, it's often the biggest employer. And look what happens to those small towns. So by any measurement, this bill and what's happened the last 8 months said to Connie and me, we can't sit on the sidelines. We got to get back in this because I can help make this better. I've built my career taking on a rigged political and economic system. It's gotten worse with this crowd, with the billionaires and the special interests represented by my opponent and so much of the spineless senators in Washington. I'm ready to go.
You can be mad all you want, but like, you're going to find out. You're going to find out if they were right about that. I know you won't believe me. No matter what we show you, you're never going to believe that people are losing their health care that are supposed to be on health care. 5% of Iowans are losing their health care on that fact. Yeah, Nebraska's begging Trump for a bailout right now because he fucked up their entire economy, which, by the way, cool bailout. But if you're a farmer in Nebraska and you've lost your ability to make a living doing farming, like a one-time bailout, what good does that do you? Still going to blame Trump. Trump has he's killing American farming. And he's handing it over to the people who donated to him. Ironically, all these factory farms donate to Trump. And then he's like, I'll do what you need. And then he goes to your town where you have farmers and he goes, I'm for you. I love the farmers. I want you to keep your money. We're going to cut your taxes. And then he just turns around and fucks you in the ass. And you're like, it probably wasn't him though. It probably, I don't know. At least I didn't vote for a woman. It'd been way worse if I voted for a woman. This stuff it's going to have an impact, and Trump probably won't feel it, but it's going to be a real problem. Jeremy said, got a record yesterday called The Sound Wasps Make. Didn't sound like wasps at all. Then I realized I was playing the B side. Tony said, hey, Mark, give your balls a tuck. Kimmy said, what do lesbians and tiramisu have in common? They are both full of lady fingers. Good Lord. Amy Lynn said, undocumented do not get medical unless it's an emergency. The states that do allow, in some cases, use state funds, not federal, at least from what I'm reading. Yeah, Amy, and I think that, and I haven't dug into it. I think that where they're getting that it's federal money is that then the states submit reimbursement to the federal government. I think that's how they're making that connection. But you're right. Like, it's a handful of states, and it's a very small amount of money. They just use that because they know that, like, their Republican base thinks that immigrants just get all this free shit. And they've already been sold on that lie, so it's an easy one for them to keep going. Illusion said, economic indicators are showing a huge problem. Thank you, Trudy, for the super chat. I had some over here as well. Denise said, thanks for letting me work. Thanks for getting me through work. Happy Friday. Swish says, for adding fuckstick to your vocabulary. It's in there. Thank you, Rebecca, for joining the Dollar Train. And Dondrell. Jamie said to help you keep up the good fight. Thank you very much. I don't know if I got Darnell's for the gift goal. And then over here, let's see, it might have a username here. Because you both deserve this for putting up with the Russian bots in the chat. Fuck Trump and happy Friday. Go Chiefs. That was from Love My Oils. That's lovely. Brago Garcia was released from a Tennessee jail. He'll get deported here pretty soon, sounds like. MT Clark says, great week, Jay and Jen. Thank you for spreading facts over feelings every day. Trump's a clown. Jeremy said, oh, I got that one. All right. me keep going here. What is it? 12:30. I'll go a little over today. Don't worry about it. But I just want to get to the John Bolton stuff. So I'll try and get through it. So John Bolton was raided today. And this is just like hypocrisy at its finest. This was 10 days ago. John Bolton predicted this was going to happen. He knew that they were coming after him. Let me start with this. John Bolton is a piece of shit. He's a warmonger. I can't fucking stand this guy. I don't think he should be in the government. But I also want to remind you that he was in the government because Trump brought him in the government. And the thing that Trump liked about John Bolton is that John Bolton got people to do what he wanted by threatening them with violence. And that's what Trump loved about John Bolton. That's not me guessing. I have a clip of Trump later saying that's what he loves. So Trump, ironically, is copying his policy, the peace through strength, the threaten everybody. Like that's what Trump does. That's why he liked Bolton. Where he disagreed with Bolton, ironically, is that when it came time to be tough with Putin, Bolton wanted to be tough and Trump was a bitch. And Bolton wanted to be tough with North Korea and Trump was a bitch. And Bolton wanted to be tough with all dictators. Trump was a bitch. Their divide came when Bolton was too tough on Trump's friends like Vladimir Putin. Here's Bolton, knowing this is coming.
So I before you go, we're about to talk about Trump's retribution campaign we're seeing at the FBI and the Justice Department. You're obviously on his enemies list, at least Kash Patel's enemies list. Are you worried that they're...
Literally, he had an enemies list. His name is on a list of enemies from Kash Patel. It's not like, this isn't figuratively. Before Kash Patel was nominated, he had an enemies list, and John Bolton was on it. And the enemies list is just anybody who says bad things about Donald Trump, because like we just cater to this big baby.
They're going to come after you in some way? I mean, he's hinted at it before.
Well, I think he's already come after me and several others in withdrawing the protection that we had for from the Iranians for the attack on Qasem Soleimani. So I think, and I said in the new forward to the paperback edition of my book, I think it is a retribution presidency.
So Trump pulled, not only for Bolton, but other national security figures who have spoken out against him, they had protection because Iran has basically a bounty on their heads because they, along with Trump, killed Soleimani. Now, Trump never lost his protection. Trump gets to keep his protection, and anybody who says nice things about Trump gets to keep their protection. But John Bolton doesn't get to keep his protection for the same act that Trump did with him. Why? Because John Bolton says mean things about him. So then the FBI this morning winds up raiding John Bolton's home. They say that they're looking for documents, which, Jesus fucking Christ. Now what are we doing? Now what are we doing? Now it's okay for the FBI to raid homes for classified documents that they allege have there. We'll see if he had classified documents. Here's James Comer. They just forget history.
Of the weaponization of lawfare.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that. I love the MAGA in the chat. It's about time we see some retribution. Barry, nobody hurt you. This isn't we. You are a bitch. You are a grown fucking bitch. Donald Trump got raided and you adopted his pain. What kind of bitch shit is that? Yeah, we're finally getting some retribution. Nothing happened to you. Nothing happened to him either. What kind of bitch shit is that? When people are mean to Donald Trump, I take it so personally that then when he gets back at them, I also make that my struggle. My struggles are Donald's struggles. It's very important in my life that Donald Trump gets back at the people that I think were mean to him. What kind of bitch shit is that? You're a grown fucking man. Are you kidding me? Imagine that. I'm so excited today. What happened? You'll never believe it. What happened? They raided John Bolton's home. Trump got back at him. All right. How does that affect you? It doesn't. It doesn't affect me at all, other than I'm such a bitch that I listen to Donald Trump complain and I hear him say it so much that I've made it central to my life, that I'm picked on, that Donald Trump got raided. And so now I'm celebrating it. because my entire political ideology is one man. Finally, the government is doing something right for us. You silly fucking sausage. How embarrassing of you to show up in front of other human adults and be like, yeah, finally, I can feel good about this country again. You little bitch.
Well, that's what the liberal media is going to say. This was retribution, that this was...
Yeah, was it us? Uh-oh, was it us that said it? Was it us that said retribution? Or is it MAGA in the chat that's calling it retribution? Is it you guys? Yeah, you guys are saying it. Trump is saying it. You guys have all adopted the struggles of a billionaire. You're like, this poor man, I don't even give a fuck if our country goes down the tubes. I don't care that my groceries are more expensive. I don't care that gas is more expensive. I don't care that buying a home is more expensive. I don't care about any of this. As long as Donald Trump gets to raid John Bolton's house to get back to him, that's all I cared about. This is what we voted for. We voted to throw ourselves on the fire so that Donald Trump's feelings would be better. We want him to be able to get back. By the way, John Bolton had nothing to do with him getting raided. So what are you getting retribution for? You're getting retribution because John Bolton said he didn't like him? That he said he was stupid? Yeah, that'll show you. If you insult that billionaire guy, then I take it personally. Then I also get to take it personally when they raid your home for saying mean things. Go ahead. Tell me what John Bolton did to hurt Donald Trump besides say he's an idiot. Yeah, my entire life revolves around one guy. So much so that if you say mean things about him, I literally celebrate when the government comes and raids your home.
Weaponized government agencies. I think that's ridiculous because that's what we saw in the Biden administration with respect to President Trump and other conservatives. So I don't think this...
What's the difference? What's the difference here? In order to raid Bolton's home, they had to present evidence and they had to go to a judge and get a warrant. I'm fine with it. I could give a fuck that they raided John Bolton's home. I'm not going to defend John Bolton. I have no. If they find classified documents, he should face the consequences. But then you guys are in a real fucking pickle. Except for you'll just lie. You're like, yeah, John Bolton should go to jail. Should Trump go to jail for doing it? No, because when Biden did it, it was political. But this isn't political. Well, why isn't this political? Well, they had evidence. They went to a judge. See the problem here? They had evidence. They went to a judge. It's the exact same thing. So now you're really up shit's creek without a fucking brain. See, I know that's not the saying, but that's where you're at now. Now you've got it. Now James Comer's like, this one's not political. It's only political the other way around. They're identical scenarios where they went to a judge and got a warrant and presented evidence. They're identical in every way. But one of them's Trump, and our job is to lick his asshole. And the other one is a guy that called Trump stupid. So that one isn't political, but the one against Trump is political because everything that happens bad to Trump is political because obviously he's perfect. He doesn't make mistakes.
This is retribution. I think this is accountability. We'll see if for no reason they raided his house just to embarrass John Bolton, like the Democrats did to President Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Then I think that they should bear some criticism. But right now, I have confidence in Kash Patel, and I don't believe he would do anything without having ample evidence to move forward.
This dumb bitch has been. How are you guys still backing Kash Patel? Kash Patel's the guy that's lying to you about the Epstein files. You all know he's a liar. How the fuck is James Comer and other Republicans going on TV like, I trust Kash Patel? No, you don't. You're a fucking idiot if you trust Kash Patel. He's lying right to your face, and you all fucking know it. The only reason you believe this is because you want it to be true. I don't know. We'll find out if they had good evidence or not. Here's John McGuire. Again, like these guys just line up to go. I don't know why Republicans debase themselves like this. Hey, can you come on Newsmax today? What are you going to do? Just the normal. Just suck Donald Trump's balls and look like a complete fucking idiot. Yeah, I'm there. I'll put on my best suit.
You have,
we all who've done this a long time know about classified documents, how to handle them. Just your initial reaction to the breaking news that the FBI is currently raiding John Bolton's home in Bethesda, Maryland.
Well, I'm glad that we have adults in the Trump administration, Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard. The Republicans have been just crying out for accountability. They've been getting away with lawlessness.
What did John Bolton do? What crime did John Bolton commit? This is what we've been waiting for. We've all been saying that John Bolton committed a crime. What crime? What crime? I've never heard anybody accuse John Bolton of a crime. What crime are you guys accusing him of? No, you don't want retribution for lawlessness. You want retribution for people saying that Donald Trump's an idiot. If he committed a crime, fine. But now you've got John McGuire, who serves on the Armed Services Committee. He's saying retribution. James Comer just told us it wasn't the Republicans who wanted retribution. That's just what the liberal media would say. Oh, I'm sorry. Was Mark in our chat the liberal media? Is Representative John McGuire the liberal media? It seems like the only people calling it retribution so far are Republicans' own words. Yeah, this is retribution. For what? For lawlessness? What crime did he commit? Oh, you don't know? Oh, so it's just retribution because he said he was dumb. Got it.
And lawfare and everything else, and no one is above the law. I think that tweet sums it up. No one's above the law, and I'm glad they're going after him.
Yeah, this is good.
And what law did he break? I'm glad that he doesn't know what he's accused of. He doesn't know. He can't name a crime. I'm just glad that we're going after him.
Be an interesting one, I think.
All right. You see how easy it is for Donald Trump? God damn, would it be nice to be Donald Trump? No, just whatever you say. You have an army of people who will go out and just pretend that they know that this is true. That guy doesn't know. None of us know. Here's Trump on John Bolton. Yeah, Trump's doing this thing now where he pretends that like he didn't know anything about this.
Life.
Wearing his "I'm right about everything" hat. Guys, I'm so right that I have to write it on a hat to remind you that I'm always right.
When I hired him, he served a good purpose because, as you know, he was one of the people that forced Bush to do the ridiculous bombings in the Middle East. Bolton, he wants to always kill people.
Yeah, low energy.
And he's very bad at what he does, but he worked out great for me because every time he doesn't talk, he's like a very quiet person, except on television. If he could say something bad about Trump, he'll always do that. But he really doesn't talk. He's quiet. And I'd walk into a room with him with a foreign country, and the foreign country would give me everything because they said, oh no, they're going to get blown up because John Bolton's there. He's not a smart guy, but he could be a very unpatriotic guy. I mean, we're going to find out. I know nothing.
Yeah, he is. He's a fucking, John Bolton fucking sucks. And you stole his ideology. That's why I think I think Donald Trump and John Bolton fucking suck for the same reason. They think that like they could use our military to force other people to do whatever the fuck they want. I think that they're murderous. I think that they are lawless. I think that they don't give a goddamn about human life. I see those two people as the same. Murderous fucks who like celebrate, not even celebrate. Like it's not even hard for them. Like there's no like, oh man, this really hurts my heart to do this. I really don't want to do this. They're like, fuck yeah, we gotta bomb some people. They're Muslim? Hell yeah, let's bomb, baby. Do those drone strikes. It's crazy to hear Trump criticize Bolton for exactly what he does. Even Fox News, though, is like, I don't know about this. I don't know. This looks fishy to me.
In Washington. David, thank you.
That's one way to say no comment.
Thank you.
All right, let's bring in our panel. Shannon Bream is the anchor of Fox News Sunday. Chris Swecker is a former assistant FBI director. And Jonathan Turley is a George Washington University professor and a Fox News contributor. Shannon, thank you so much for being here. And you're here on set with us, so it's great to have you. One of the things I think is interesting for people to understand is just how this works. It's not like the White House says, okay, go raid his home, or even the FBI says, go raid his home. This has to go through a process. There had to have been a judge that said there was a reason for them to go in.
Yeah, that's how this works. You've got to actually go through all of these due process and protective legal framework that is in place. And so a judge would have had to look at this. There has to be a warrant in place, and there would have to be some probable cause for moving forward and looking for whatever is outlined in that warrant, documents and other things that they may stumble upon while they're there. You know, we have these protections for a reason, and you want people to have confidence in what our agencies are doing when they carry these things out, that they have been vetted. And something that's happening at this level, you would know would have to involve the top levels of the FBI and DOJ. Leaders would not be unaware. They would be very involved in this warrant process and getting things to where they are this morning.
And this is the problem that we now have with Trump, and where it is different than any president in history. The problem that we're going to have here with Bolton and any of these types of raids is like, we shouldn't trust it. They don't deserve trust. We've never had an incoming FBI director with an enemies list. If this was James Comer and he had an enemies list and Donald Trump was on that enemies list, none of you would be okay with him raiding Trump's home after knowing that would have been your number one. It's all you would talk about. The problem here with Bolton is, again, I think Bolton's a piece of shit. I don't fucking care that he got raided. But I don't trust that the Trump administration's being honest. How could I trust that? They told us beforehand that they had enemies that they were going to go after. They said they were going to get retribution. They said they were going to take down everybody who was on that list. And they did it, but they never told me what crime Bolton committed. So I can't trust this. Just like as a human being, I can't trust this. There was already a plan that we knew to go after this guy. And then I've got to look at the judge, and I've got to say, like, did Trump appoint this judge? What was the judge reasoning for granting this? And even if the judge does grant it, then I've got to look at the evidence. How good was the evidence? There's no way that we can trust anything this administration does on face value, and that's what sucks. Is because you guys will. You will all take what they do on face value. I'm not willing to do that. And if you are willing to do that, what does it say about you? It says that you trust the government. You don't know them, and you're not going to bother to fact check them. You're not going to bother to investigate this. That's the scariest part about America, is that there are not an insignificant amount of people who went from, I don't trust the government, I don't trust anything, to, don't worry, don't worry that this government's not showing you anything. Don't worry that they're hiding evidence from you. I just believe it. And I see the people, like, that's what you say. Like, I see it in the TikTok chat. You say, I'll eat anything Biden says. Fuck you. You don't know. Like, this is the thing. Like, one, why are you doing whataboutism? That's first. Two, I can't fucking stand Joe Biden. I don't think he was a good president. I've said this repeatedly. I said it when he was president. I was critical of him when he was president. You're just wrong about this shit. And the only reason you're saying it is because you don't have a fucking answer for this either. If we're talking about Donald Trump and you have to bring up Joe Biden, the reality is you don't have a fucking answer either. And that's fine. Like, if you want to play what about it, it's fine. Do your thing. But we all see it for what it is. And you can lie to yourself all you want, but we all know exactly what this is. You know you can't trust this. You know goddamn well that you have no idea what happened here. You also know that there was a list. So if you are a person today who's defending this, you're just a cuck. If you're a person today who's saying, I can't trust this, I trust it. Fine. If you're a person today who said this was unwarranted, you're also a cuck. If you've decided this is either right or it is wrong, you're a fucking cuck. If you have drawn a conclusion on this action, you're a fucking cuck. If you come to any conclusion other than there's no way I can trust this until we see the evidence, anything outside of that, you're a fucking cuck. So that's going to give the left, the culty left and the culty right together. But those of you today who are defending this action, you are cucked out bitches. And there's no way around that, because you don't know the answer. You've just decided. And you need to look at your life. You need to look at that. You should never trust anybody in government. You should never trust what the FBI is doing. You should never trust what the CIA is doing. You should never trust any of this unless they give you evidence. So if you're a person today who played whataboutism with this, or you're a person today who said, yeah, retribution, fuck you, you silly little cuck. And you shouldn't trust yourself either, and you may need parental supervision. Let me read some super chats, then we'll go to Friendly Friday. Guys, you can start lining up for Friendly Friday. Amanda says, poor Trump, clots and prayers. Jesus. Leanne said, because you met the weekly bitch quota. Thank you, Leanne. Lee said, don't think they don't love you. They come back every day. I know they love me. I love you. I love you guys too. I believe in you. I believe that eventually things are going to get too obvious for you to keep lying about this. Kimmy said Kilmar Garcia has been released. Let me just say this. I'm going to stick to my prediction. Maybe I'll be wrong. Abrego Garcia is going to be arrested and deported. They're going to deport Abrego Garcia. He's not going to stay in this country. But it sounds an awful lot like I was right. I don't make a ton of predictions, but it sounds like I was right about this one. That they would bring him back, drop all the charges, and then arrest him and deport him. I think that's what's going to happen. So, win one for me. Well, we all know Shuckett Trebek is a cuck. We all know Trebek. Like, he's 100% a cuck. You've all seen Shuckett defend positions that he was wrong about. And like 3 weeks later, he'll come back and he'll say he wasn't wrong. My vulgar language is enough for me to not trust anything you say. Go fuck yourself, Carol O'Neill. Eat a piece of shit. Do you want us to block? We can block you. Guys, go ahead. Carol O'Neill can't figure out how to get the fuck out of here. So, Carol, first of all, you're an adult. Deal with vulgar language. Toughen the fuck up. But we'll help you see your way out. You guys can block Carol O'Neill then, because she can't figure out how to get the fuck out of a YouTube stream. Sorry about that. Fuck, shit, hell, bitch. Damn, piss, fart. Shit, fuck, cuck. I can keep going if you want. We're going to lose TikTok. Got that one by MT Clark. Mandy said, happy Friday. Thank you, Mandy. Brittany said, just trying to finish you off. Thank you. Lisa said, get more true info from you than anyone. Thanks. Appreciate that. Denise said, thanks for getting me through the work week. I think I got that one. Did I get everything over here? Mary, thank you for joining the dollar train. Did I say Mary Trump? This cannot be like the actual dollar train. Always impressed by your insight. Your name is actually Mary Trump. That'd be amazing if you were that Mary. If you are that Mary Trump, that's amazing. All right. Let's see if anyone's came in. Not piss and fart. Yeah, I said piss and fart. I said it. I'm not afraid. Did somebody take care of Carol? You're welcome, Carol. Glad we could help you find the door. All right, Jen, are we got people in for Friendly Friday? Did you drag me over? Jen?
All right.
There we go. All right. If you're here for Friendly Friday, hop in the Discord. We got the VC there. If you're not in the Discord, maybe a little too late, but anybody that's in the Discord wants to do Friendly Friday, we'll do like 45 minutes or so.
Okay. Dolphin.
Hey.
What's up, brother?
What's up?
Sorry, I'm the Trump-la-fuck one.
All right.
Yeah. I honestly don't. What the heck is going on? I've lost. Have we all lost it? I'm starting to. I'm sorry. I'm a little confused at like this whole situation as to why they cannot accept facts.
Look, if if I can present it in the best possible light for Republicans, I do think like they believe that the tariff stuff's going to work. They believe that the deportations are good for them, and they do believe that everybody who's here illegally should be deported. They still believe that the cuts in Medicaid were only cuts for people who shouldn't be on it. They believe that the tax cut will fix the economy. They're still holding on to belief. And I think what we're seeing here is that it's going to take there's not enough data because they don't trust us. They've been conditioned never to trust anybody outside of Donald Trump. So criticism against Donald Trump to them is like an actual attack. They feel attacked. It gives them that fight or flight response. Like they are conditioned. That's a real thing. And anybody who knows, like if you have a response that's conditioned, you're not always going to be able to like overcome that with facts and data. Oftentimes it takes something happening to you or you feeling the pain to open up this idea that like, oh, maybe this is, maybe I was wrong. And that's what it's going to take. I think that the people that are still like on the Trump train, they have to feel pain first. No amount of explaining it's going to work. And some of the pain that they've already felt, they're explaining away, saying it'll be temporary pain. But yeah, like we're not, the reality is we're not going to see a change until things get worse. And that sucks.
I've been through too much pain, 9 major surgeries, bullied my whole life, a life in addiction, homeless for a hot minute. Um, I recognize the pain. I don't I really don't understand. Are they just I'm sorry, I'm losing my brain. Anyways, off of that topic, I don't know if you saw me in the comments doing the breaking thing about Ghislaine Maxwell.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember.
Yeah, well, they released audio and transcripts from the Blanche interview, and according to her, um, Epstein never told her that Trump was inappropriate with anybody, and that and that she never saw him do anything with anybody either.
Again, they're never going to care about that. I grew up in a cult my whole life where the founder of the cult legitimately had like a 14-year-old bride, and he absolutely was abusing children, and nobody cared. And no amount of talking to them ever changes that. They will never care about they will never care about Trump abusing women. That will never change. They won't care about they will just always say the accusations aren't true because people hate Trump. I've dealt with this my whole life. I've watched leadership with a cult following where they will just ignore any abuse. So that won't change. This really sucks. But the only thing that is going to get people to change on Trump is that their financial situation has to change, and and their life will have to get like markedly worse. They will never care about any of the flaws in his character or the fact that he is a serial abuser. That's never going to change.
All right. And a joke to close. I know last time I was very nervous, so I'm going to close
Doing great.
this. Why did the dentist go to the zoo?
Why didn't the dent? I don't know.
No. Why did they?
Did they?
Yeah. Why did they go to the zoo?
I don't know.
Because they wanted to see enamels. All right.
Thank
Gotta go. Oh, by the way, RTP wanted to tell you, your buddy Admir follows me, by the way.
There you go. He probably just wants your food. Don't feed him. He'll keep coming back.
Dude, I know. Every single time. I'm sorry, dude. He eats like a mofo. All right, I'm
Good.
done.
We
I'm
gotta
sorry.
we gotta go on the
Thank
next
you.
Yeah,
person.
I'm done. Bye-bye, guys.
See ya. PRBBEU USMC said $1,000 cash to anyone in the chat that can meet my challenge. I don't know what the challenge is. You censor people because you can't handle the truth. Laughing face, pointing finger, Democratic losers, Trump. I don't think we've censored anybody today, unless you use slurs, which you might have been. Those auto get censored. And the only person that we banned, she wanted to be gone. She couldn't figure out how to leave. She kept saying she was leaving.
He's
So
cruising to get
oh, he got muted for
removed
using
for-
slurs. Oh, okay.
No. I mean the auto mod catches most things. We don't do that. But one of the auto mod things that flagged him. I mean,
Well, RGZ is saying she muted him for using slurs. That's where I'm getting that.
no, I know the one thing I'll send you a screenshot of what he said.
What's the challenge? What's the $1,000 challenge here? Do you know what that is?
I can find it. I mean,
Okay. And then Amy Lynch.
he's got, to me, it looks like he's got a profile picture that looks kind of like racist, but I mean, he's kind of irrelevant to me. But.
And then Amy Lynn said Maxwell just spoke and said she doesn't believe Epstein committed unaliving. Wow. I'll have to check that out. We'll watch that before we go. Amy Lynn, will you send that to me on Discord? All right, who's next?
The dude.
What's up, the dude? Do you abide?
Hey. Sure, why not?
All right. What's up?
But Jay, I have a bone to pick with you.
Okay.
After Wednesday's show, we need to have a chat about privacy and the internet. Not everything needs to be shared on a fucking live.
What did I say on Wednesday? Did I overshare on Wednesday? What did I do?
I had no interest in knowing the hygiene of your undercarriage.
I forgot about
could have gone
that.
to my grave without that fucking information.
It's my bad.
This says certain things that you couldn't waterboard out of me.
Please bring back secrets and shame. For fuck's sake.
Okay. My bad.
But I do have a joke before I go.
Okay.
What do you call an orphan who gets kidnapped?
I don't know.
A surprise adoption?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus. Thank you. Fuck. All right. Who's next?
Positive impact.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Um, yeah, it's just had a huge, well, this is not one of many with my cousin, who is a huge Trump supporter and very vocal about it on Facebook. And the narrative that you just talked about, where they think that all these things are good for them, is so true. I mean, she just like, and what amazes me out of all my cousins, she's the most close to being homeless, and the most shaky as far as financial situation. And she's the one who's going to be most hurt by his policies, and it's just so frustrating. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's impossible. Like, speaking to him, there's just nothing. I saw there was a Fox News clip earlier. I don't remember what it was. I was going to show it. Jessica Tarloff just brought something up, and Jesse Waters was like, "You're not going to bring up polls or like data again, are you?" And I just it made me think of like the MAGA people in my life. There was like, I can't hear anything else. I don't listen to negativity about Donald Trump anymore, and that's where most of them are, because it is a lot of negativity, and they've just given up caring, and that sucks.
yeah, yeah, and it's just is like, and she's just so like, if it disagrees with her, interpretation or whatever she's heard, she just gets so angry and just spits the most, and like and then she'll, message me, or like I'll post something on Facebook about my son. He's becoming an Eagle Scout, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of him. Great job, Natalie." And it's just like, no, you just fucking like railed into me about something. You can't just come back and act like you didn't just do that. So, yeah, it's just really, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
I agree. It's again, they personalize him. They take the attacks on him as an attack on them, and like, it's a weird thing that we do. I mean, we do that in other instances too, but with Trump, it's uniquely bizarre because the evidence against him is so strong that he's a horrific human that they now just have to say, oh, the only reason people say bad things about him is because they don't like his politics. But like most of these stories, almost everything we know about him happened long before he was president. Like these stories were they were public. They were out there. It's just that nobody cared because he was just another rich guy getting away with it. But then once he is like running for office, of course it's gonna escalate. But it's not like these were new things that people made up once he was in office. They were all real stories that already existed.
Yeah. It's just crazy. It's so frustrating. But anyways, great show. I've
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it all week, and have a great weekend.
You too. Good talking to you.
Bye. All right.
Hold on real quick. 6 cents. Amelia said, watch New Jersey Criminal Podcast episodes 1 through 6. Topics was Epstein a spy, Jeffrey Epstein hiding in Israel, Epstein's a private aviation network. All right. Send those. If you have those links, Amelia, send them on Discord. If not, I'll look it up. Who'd you say was next?
Ange.
Hey, Ange.
Hello.
Hey.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Welcome.
So I have a brother who is one of those that didn't vote for Trump, hated him at the time, but is oddly loving everything he's doing, even though he's a libertarian. And when it comes to DC, I haven't heard you mention this yet, so I don't know if you know this, but in their little manosphere, what they think the truth is that the crime statistics, the 30-year low, it's all fake. It's all not real. It's actually way worse than we could ever even imagine. And so they've convinced themselves that this is actually the right thing to do. And when I keep asking him, okay, sure, he has the right to do it, but when he goes to the next city, is that cool? Is that authoritarianism then? Well, I'm sure their crime statistics are, being messed with too. So I'm at a loss on how to.
Yeah, how many times can you fall for the same trick, though? Right? That's what I wonder with Trump. Like, Trump's been around politically since. I mean, he was around with Romney, And when Romney lost, Romney went and conceded, and Trump went and held a press conference and said the election was stolen, the numbers were wrong. When he lost to Ted Cruz in the Iowa primary, the numbers were wrong. They cheated. Every time Trump doesn't like a number, he just says it's wrong. The jobs numbers are wrong. I'm going to fire you. The inflation numbers are wrong. So I'm going to fire the Fed chair. Like, how many more times do you have to fall for it?
Why am I going
crazy.
to believe his magic numbers? Like,
yeah. It's not like he's been. And if you go backwards, it's not like he's been vindicated on these things. In fact, in every instance, he was wrong. So it's like you fall for the same trick. That
but Jay, this time he's right.
That's right.
He's got really smart people around him.
It's crazy.
Oh my God, it's even a worse administration than last time, but they're going to be truthful with numbers. So yeah, I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
just giving up on him.
Just kick it. Just kick him in the shin or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
All
right. Love your show. I
Thank
listen
you.
every day.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
We just now got a harassment and bullying warning. That's late. Come on, TikTok. That was way late. I was bullying like 30 minutes ago.
And part of me is thinking, cut off TikTok just in case.
I love you, TikTok. God bless the TikTok shop.
All right, Brother Bob.
Hey.
God bless TikTok shop.
That's right. Thanks, brother.
Hey, I got a question. Kind of, I have two, but I guess I don't know if I have time for two. So it's kind of piggybacking off of the first guest you had up here talking to you about what it's going to take. And I know you don't know the answer, but how far do you think this is all going to go before these people wake up? And it just feels like we're going down. We're not going to wake up, and we're going down like a Handmaid's Tale route. You know what I'm saying? Jay?
Yeah, I hear you. Sorry, I was thinking. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's some historians with better answers. I can give you like what I think, and that is that the problem with a lot of what Trump is doing is that, for example, economically, it is slowly going to hurt people, and it's going to start at the bottom, and we know that nobody gives a fuck. And it's not gonna really cause big problems for him until it gets into the suburbs. So it really depends on how long he's able to prolong the pain. And if he's able to get Congress to slap Band-Aids over things, like, it could take a while. The problem is the longer it takes, the more likely we are not to get those rights back, right? Because if it gets to the point where Trump has full control, he has the federal government, he's got all these blue states occupied with the National Guard. At that point, do you have armed resistance, or are you Russia? I don't have a great deal of faith in America that we won't go authoritarian. I think Americans are scared. I think that they are prone to being scared. Like, of all the countries, we're the ones that believe the most in like angels and supernatural things. We are easily convinced of things. We have millions of Americans now who don't believe in science. In fact, are starting to say science is evil. And because those views can't be protected through argumentation, they're okay with authoritarianism. I grew up, Utah was an authoritarian state. That's what they wanted. When those people were afraid, when the Mormons were afraid of their viewpoints being pushed back against by other states, they fled and they chose authoritarianism. And that's my fear here with America. It is a significant amount of people who are willing to overlook a lot of stuff because they're afraid. And I don't know. I don't know if the economic stuff doesn't hit soon enough. I think you get to a point where you're in an authoritarian state like Russia and you have no real power. There's nothing you can do. And in any attempt to try and coordinate an act of aggression against the government, they're silenced. The military, I'm watching these guys in the streets in the military. People are saying like, what's your badge? What's your name? You're like, you don't have a warrant. And the military's turning around and telling them, and HSI and ICE, they're turning around, they're saying, we don't fucking care. This is what we do. This is the new America. So I already know there's a significant portion of the military willing to subvert the Constitution. I don't know that we come out of it, if we're being honest. I don't know that we don't wind up authoritarian. I don't feel confident saying that.
Because you've said in the past on your show that there's more of us than there are of them, and that kind of, when you say that, it kind of gives me, I don't know about everybody else, but it gives me like a little bit of sense of hope. But so what you're saying is that you think that there are more of us than there are of them, but we need this portion of America to finally wake up. Is that how you feel about that? You don't think they're gonna wake up and we're gonna go authoritarian?
Yeah, I think that. Well, I don't know. If the economic pain doesn't hit first, or
right,
the other option is the Republicans, like people like Tom Tillis, that they stand up. Those are really the only two options. Is if the Republicans stand up to Trump, or if the economic pain gets here before, and we can vote them out before they can take full control. But I don't think anybody should question whether or not they are trying to do authoritarianism. They are. Like, they're trying to end democracy, for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, have a good weekend.
Love you, bro. Sorry.
For all that.
I could be wrong.
But I do have something else. Can I PM you sometime?
Please. Yeah.
Okay. I have something else I wanted to say to you, but I'm going to leave it off the air. So
sounds good.
I'll let you go. Have a good weekend, you guys.
Yeah. I hope I'm wrong, by the way. It's for everybody out there. Don't be doom and gloom because of me. That's my opinion. I don't know. I could be wrong. I've never dealt with this before, so take it with a grain of salt. Who's next?
That's everyone.
That's everyone? Oh, we had a short Friendly Friday today.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking at, there was a couple more super chats that came through.
Did you see Trump wearing the hat and Chicago? The hat and Chicago? I saw it. Are we talking about the hat? Was that in Chicago? Is that what he's saying?
That'd be my guess. I don't know.
Let's see. Let me look on Twitter and I'll look up Trump Chicago real quick.
Mama Aurora's here.
Hey.
I just heard that you said it was going to be an early Friendly Friday, so I just came.
So you decided not on your watch?
Watch. I have less than an hour left in my day, and I was really looking forward to you guys going almost to the very end of it. But that's all. I just wanted to say hey, and I don't have any jokes this week, but thank you for what you guys do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for keeping it going.
I'm counting on somebody else to jump in, but if not,
I've got a video to play anyways. This is the Trump Chicago thing.
Very cool.
So they said, sorry, talking about Chicago is what they said.
National Guard has done such an
All right.
incredible job.
Thanks, guys.
See it.
Bye.
Jen, I'm going to play a video. You're not going to see it.
Yeah.
So it's
All
playing right now.
National Guard has done such an incredible job working with the police, and we haven't had to bring in the regular military, which we're willing to do. We have to. And after we do this, we'll go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one. But they're wearing red hats.
Who?
African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Please. I did great with the black vote, as you know, and they want something to happen. So I think Chicago will be our next, and then we'll help with New York. National Guard has done such an incredible job working with the police. And we have.
All right. The fuck, man. Like, we're just doing it. Just doing it. All right. Well, that sucks.
Chris will bring.
We'll see. I mean, now you've got a constitutional crisis. J.B. Pritzker's going to say no. J.B. Pritzker is in charge of the National Guard. As far as I understand it, the only way for Trump to claim power of the National Guard is through an emergency declaration. I don't think he's afraid to declare martial law. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Illusions here.
Who?
Illusion.
Hey.
Hey, did we just see Donald Trump declare that he's now going into Chicago to federalize it?
That's what he just said.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. I'm honestly like, that's a pit in my stomach. Like if he does that,
I mean, it's one thing to do it in DC, right? Where the executive has that privilege, but to move it into a different state, right? A blue state, and start using the National Guard in a city. Isn't that seems like number one, like you said, a constitutional crisis, but number two, like it crosses a serious red line. What is the recourse option we have? He's got the military, right?
that's what I was saying. So then it's up to like the Illinois National Guard. Like, who are they going to listen to? Because they're going to get conflicting orders. Unless Trump brings in a National Guard from other states, which then like, what the fuck are we doing? Because the National Guard is under the control in Illinois of Pritzker.
Yeah.
So Pritzker's obviously not going to do it. And then is Trump going to bring in the other branches of the military? Who's he going to bring in? Is he going to?
That's what he just said.
In the FBI, yeah. This is fucking crazy.
So wait a minute. So this is kind of the theory that we were talking about before, when we were reading like Project 2025 and Agenda 47. It seemed like so outlandish.
All the stuff they told us was bullshit. All the stuff they told us that were fear mongering, that's all coming true right now. And now
they were saying,
and now they're all defending it. Yeah.
Yeah, they were saying the people in the military would never choose to violate the Constitution just to follow the president's orders and be violent against other citizens in the United States. But like we're actually now at the position, if he's announcing going into Chicago, then that is the military, the actual military soldiers, having to decide to follow the military orders or the Constitution.
Yeah. And the thing is
Holy
like
shit.
They've spent decades telling you it should be no surprise that he's going after black communities and cities with black mayors. Should be no surprise. But they've been doing this forever. Like this is one of those things that is so hard to uncondition, because we can point out that Chicago is far from the most dangerous city. We can point out other dangerous cities, and they're going to say, "Oh, what? So you should just not? You shouldn't protect people." And then they're going to say, "Like, what? You don't care about the people of Chicago? You don't want the people in Chicago to be safe?" That's not what we care about. It's not what we're upset about. If Donald Trump wanted to make Chicago more safe, if the Republicans wanted to make Chicago more safe, they could give Chicago millions of dollars that can only be used to hire more police. They could do all this shit. I don't know why. I don't know why Republicans think this is. Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, the thing about it though is Chicago's not even in the top 20 for the most dangerous, like for unaliving rates even.
He
it's
villainized
Memphis, St.
them.
Louis, Baltimore. I mean, it's all red states that are more dangerous.
And by the way,
so he just used time to villainize these specific places to justify doing this without as much pushback.
And then once you're there and you get people to do what you want, and then let's just say that that he is able to make things safer in Chicago, right? Let's just say that they go in there, they win that battle for whatever reason, and it's safer. Well, now they're going to say, we've got to stay here. This is exactly what Russia did. And it is so nearsighted by you Republicans that think like this type of authoritarian control is just about crime. It's never just about crime. It's always about control. And even if they go in with the intention just to do crime, somebody will see the power that they have and they will grab that power and they will hold on to that power. And eventually you live in a police state. And that's where that's what they're trying to do.
We're gonna have to hide people in walls and shit. I mean, we're getting to that point.
Getting weird, yeah.
It's crazy. Anyway, I just
All right.
wanted to clarify that I heard what I just fucking heard. So I appreciate your take. I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, brother.
Bye, Jen.
We'll see you.
Love you. Stop asking.
Hey.
Hey, Jen, we love you so much.
Now you're pushing it because when your spawn was saying it, it was okay, but now you're making it weird.
I know. Well, my spawn isn't here,
Well-
but I do have this. Say such.
There we go.
So it's still from November, but
I
it's
still suck.
something.
I still suck. That
You
makes
do
sense.
still suck.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it was my spawn who was like, "You have to say that we love Jen," and I'm like, "Okay."
Take that, Jen.
Well, all right, Jen, you suck, and Jay, we love you, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye. JT.
What's up, JT?
Hey Jay.
Hey.
Hey. Sorry, I wasn't gonna hop on today because I really didn't have anything for you. But then you played that video of Trump, talking about Chicago, and I'm literally 25 minutes outside of Chicago. I'm in Cook County, so it's all basically the same thing.
Let me
I
ask.
don't know,
Can I ask you a
I don't-
question? Because you live
Yeah.
there, and you're familiar with your neighbors. Okay, so let's say that Trump brings in the military, and they patrol the streets. They're going to go into whatever areas there's the most crime, and crime is down. Just knowing your neighbors, do you think your neighbors, looking at crime being lower, do you think? Because I think in my neighborhood, even if initially opposed, if they came in and the National Guard or the military was here everywhere, and people felt more safe, I think people would be like, you know what, this was probably a good thing. And I think that about the suburbs of Chicago. I think that about the suburbs of all these places that get fear-mongered to every single day. I think that if Trump comes in and he does this, it will gain him support, which is the scarier part, because we've already ignored all these signs. That's my biggest concern as far as like advancing authoritarianism, is that they will then look to him as like, Chicago didn't solve it, but he did, so I'm in.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't completely
I don't know if
understand what was.
I don't know if that I agree with that.
Okay. That's what I'm wondering.
yeah.
That's what I'm wondering. Do you think that if Trump comes in and crime goes down, do you think the people in your neighborhood will be more okay with him doing that in other places, or keeping that military presence in Chicago because it reduced the crime?
Well, if we're talking about the neighborhood I am in, absolutely not.
Okay.
Because I live, I won't say where exactly I live, but I live in a primarily dominant Palestinian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So definitely not. We're definitely very, very blue. So exactly where I am staying right now, that no, absolutely not. And I can say the people of Chicago, they will not take too kindly of this. Yeah, no, definitely not. I can't even imagine that.
Okay. Just wondering. It's hard for me because I've never, like, everywhere I've lived has been like a conservative place. So like most of my neighbors everywhere I've ever lived are conservatives, and I know that they're like, I look at them, they'll for sure, they hand over any amounts of freedoms as long as they feel safe. Like they kind of like that. So I didn't know, like in more progressive areas, but it's suburbs, if they feel the same way.
Not where I'm at.
Okay.
I'm delivered right now, and I'm in like Trump country right now, which is crazy. It's only like an hour away, but it's all Trump flags and stuff. I got Harley's right next to me right now. So yeah, no, it won't go over well. Before I let you go, what does he exactly mean safer? I know you probably don't know, but what is safer? Like, as Jen pointed out correctly, I was going to, bring up Chicago's not even in the top 20 of most violent places in the United States. So what exactly is safer?
Well, look, any city can be safer. There's crime in every city. So if Trump goes in, whatever the murder rate is, let's say it goes down. Whatever the theft rate is, let's say it goes down. Whatever metrics they're using, let's just say it goes down. Because I agree that it's not one of the most dangerous places in the world. But like I live in Mesa, and there's a lot of people I think in my neighborhood that if we said like if we could, if you had roaming members of the National Guard through our neighborhoods. We've had like a few strings of break-ins before. Would you support that? I think all my neighbors would be like, yeah, of course.
I don't. It's with your kids and stuff like that having militarized presence in the streets. I don't see that. I don't agree. I don't think that would be viewed as positive.
I just think in my neighborhood it would, because they view the police as like a friend that's there for them. They don't view the police ever as like a danger to them. So.
I think police is one thing, but military is different.
I'll ask some of my neighbors what they think. I'll see what I can do. I just don't know. I don't know what it's like to live in like blue suburbs. So that's why I wanted to ask the question.
Yeah, I mean, I live in. I mean, I kind of do, and I don't think that would be welcomed.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, sorry, I just had to hop up there, and that just got my head spinning. To be honest with you, I had to pull over and hop on. So I just want to get your take on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words, probably.
Me too, my friend. Me too.
All right, brother. Be well.
All right.
Take care.
Have a great weekend. All right.
Amy said as of July 11th, Memphis, Tennessee has the most violent crime. Sounds right to me. Is anybody else here?
Mama just came back.
Oh, welcome back. Raina said, thanks for love the show. Thank you. Thank you, Raina. Mama?
I know I already came up, but now that listened to and watched that clip or whatever, my hope is as somebody who's in a very, very blue area in the Phoenix area, I hope that all of our military families that are in my area respond the same way that they did any other time we've had anything happen, like crisis-wise. And that's to support the people and the Constitution and not whatever the external force that was trying to take us out was.
Yeah, I hope so too. I do think that you're going to have some people like Tom Tillis. There's going to be some Republicans this weekend that come out and say that they're against this. Ironically, like we might have to cheerlead some Republicans this weekend and in the next couple of weeks. We might have to really get behind the few of them that are willing to stand up.
Yeah, and I don't mind doing that.
Me neither.
Because I'm mostly independent anyways. But I really hope that we're able to come together. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
We'll see.
So,
I hope it does, but I'm with you. I'm not super hopeful.
Yeah. So anyways, I'll stop coming up.
You're good. Have a good weekend. See ya.
All right, you too. Bye.
It's crazy to see the misinformation in the chat. That's wild. Like,
yeah,
it's wild to see. And this is what I think where the disconnect comes from. Like, you look at stats, everybody has the same stats, and Trump's just like, this is the most dangerous place, and you're like, okay, let me fact check that, and you fact check it, and you're like, oh, it's not, and then Republicans just go, oh, they're just lying. It actually is the most dangerous. They're just lying. And you're like, where'd you come up with that? I just said it. It's just what we do. We just say shit. And then we assume it's true. Like no city has complete accurate crime. Crime goes underreported all the time. The place where crime is most underreported though is in neighborhoods where like poor neighborhoods. There's a lot of people with records. There's a lot of open crime, and so oftentimes, or it's somebody who's going to commit a crime, but if they leave, it's going to leave a family in jeopardy. Like if they get arrested, so it is underreported in more poor areas. But going in and jailing more people isn't the solution. You might be able to bring it down, but I don't know. We'll see. That's fucking crazy. Yeah, crime's down everywhere but the White House. It's way up in the White House. Is anybody else here, Jen? Or is that it?
No, that's it.
All right. Any last words from you?
No, same. Delete all the chats and messages. Do you want to check yours again? I don't know if any of
I've been checking. Somebody said they were right not to trust the data. Like this is the thing. Like I don't know what, like you guys just hear what you want to hear. I'm pretty sure. If you say Chicago is the most violent, or you say somebody in there said DC is the most violent, it's just underreported. But every city's underreported. So you're still wrong. You still don't have. You're still not right. At this point, you're saying, well, since I can't prove it, I'm okay with Trump guessing. Right? Like, just because crime goes underreported everywhere doesn't mean that all these cities that you're pointing at are actually the most crime-ridden. It's also unreported in Gary, Indiana. It's also underreported in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or New Orleans, Louisiana, or Charleston, South Carolina. It's underreported everywhere. So it doesn't help your claim. I don't know why you guys have to go so far out of your way to make excuses to support authoritarianism. You either like the Constitution or you don't. What Republicans are going to advocate for all weekend, and then I'll get out of here. You guys are going to advocate for suspending the Constitution when we are at historic record lows for crime. The time when we were the time you're least likely in America to have a violent crime committed against you, is the time that you're saying we need to undo the Constitution and go full authoritarian. And I think it's pathetic, but I also think you guys need to think about the repercussions of a police state, and you need to go research this weekend. I go look at other police states. Go look at Cuba. Look at Russia. You're advocating to be them. You are advocating to be Russia. Trump is taking control of businesses. He's taking control of churches. He's taking control of local governments. He's taking control of the federal government. He's removing the checks and balances. He's installing loyalists. He's doing everything you tell us the communists did. All the shit that you use to scare us about communism that is actually authoritarianism, you are now advocating for. And it is incredibly nearsighted. I hope you guys do some research this weekend. I hope to God that you don't rely on common sense. That's a way that they fuck you up. Any politician saying common sense is just saying, don't look into this. Just listen to what I say. Does it make sense? And if it does, support it. And if it doesn't, you're wrong. It's not common sense. Whatever you do, don't look this up. But I am a little alarmed at how quickly all of you guys who told us that we shouldn't worry about authoritarianism and Project 2025, I am alarmed at how quickly you guys have come out with full-throated support of Project 2025, which is now 75% complete, which was an authoritarian takeover. We warned you about it. You told us we were lying. We were right. You were wrong. And instead of admitting that you're wrong, you're just like, yeah, fuck it. We're doing authoritarianism. We'll see what happens over the weekend, and I'll be back Monday morning. I did see Oslo. I want to respond to you, Oslo. You said you asked when we want to do something about debates. Look, I'm not really in the TikTok circle anymore. If somebody wants to set up debates, I'm happy to come do debates. I'm not going to sit on. I don't like panels because they suck. I fucking hate panels. I don't want to do 6v1. I don't want to do 7v1 unless I'm the one. But I don't want to do that. So if there are people who want to set stuff up with me, you're welcome to DM me. I'm happy to come on your channel and debate. I just don't want to do it in it where we sit there for 6 hours and shout over each other in a panel. But Oslo, if you want to set something up like that, let me know. I'm happy to do it. Anybody else here who hosts TikTok debate spaces, I'm happy to do it. I think those panels are an absolute waste of time, and I think they're a cesspool of hatred, and I don't want to be there at all. So if you do DM me, the best place to DM me is either on TikTok, because Jen will see it, or on Discord. I'll usually see it. Other than that, Ty said why the Trump was right about everything hat though. Draco said if that piece of shit comes to Arizona, he's going through Luke Air Force Base. I work on that base. I hope that I'm not working that day. I think that's it. All right, guys, we'll see you Monday morning and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, either here on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you watch the show today. The replays are available on YouTube, so you can catch us there. In the meantime, you can join our Discord if you want to hang out with us this weekend. It's always a good time over there. Take care of yourselves. I know it's heavy this week, and it is what it is. I don't think we can change that. It's going to be a heavy weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday. Take care of yourselves. Be nice to yourself. Go out and touch grass. Try and stay off the internet if it's getting you down. And we will see you bright and early Monday morning. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.